a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. What? Jeremy's got this look on his face. What's
It's playing from two places. I can't figure out where it's coming from.
What's happening? What's happening right now? It's YouTube only. It's Power Rankings Day here in the Sportsocracy.
We've been talking about snuggle parties. I'm lost.
Live from the Ingles Studio, as always. Brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings, and, of course, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. Yeah, Jeremy was on the phone. He's got some some exciting things working.
I got some things. Wonderful people that sponsor this show. All of them. It will never cease to amaze me that the support we get from the people around here. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
Twitter messages, all the things. But an exciting new promotion that will be starting tomorrow.
Indeed. Jason Trump says he hopes you didn't poo yourself.
Nope, that's a tank thing.
That was the thing I did.
Yeah, that's a tank thing.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do those things.
Should never trust a fart after you take a laxative.
Hey, you better stop saying those things. They won't let you in the Asheville snuggle party. And I know you're going.
Party.
Trust me, we're going to slide into power rankings, but later in this here program. We got a lot of things for a YouTube-only show today.
Yes.
All the power rankings, every team in the NFL will get their own little allotment. We can say the bad words. I just have to keep checking the blue light to make sure that we haven't accidentally slid onto FM radio.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to address a festivity here in Asheville that we can't wrap our brains around. The Asheville Snuggle Party.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
That's like taking a vacation at a nude beach. It's not nearly as attractive as it sounds, and it doesn't sound all that attractive.
No, it always sounds good in theory. And then you show up and you go, oh.
And you get some guy that looks like Tank wearing a pair of sweatpants looking like he's smuggling a hammer. No. I'm going home.
Never good. Welcome, everybody, into the chat. Share it out with your friends so we can get everybody in on the show here. Power rankings, of course. It's a Tuesday. This is what we do.
Tuesday's Power Rankings Day.
We are not on ESPN Asheville because of Atlanta Braves baseball.
And you know what that means?
We will be what? What does that mean?
Means I can say shit.
Oh, yeah, all the things. You could say all of the things.
Yep.
And we will not be on tomorrow either because of Braves baseball. Because baseball is like, hey, fuck it. Well, let's just put shit on while you're at work.
Bingo.
Let's do that. We got 2 games tomorrow, and one of them starts at 4:30. Explain that to me.
Because baseball's like, well, the average age of the people watching our sports is 79 and a half. And if we put it on too late, the Matlock will be on, and they won't be able to watch both at the same time.
Got to make sure you get into bed at a decent hour. 6-1 right now, in case you're curious. The Phillies are on top of the Braves in the bottom of the 4th inning. But we're here.
The Mets were eliminated, which means whatever limited interest I had in baseball disappeared in thin air.
The New York Mets, the first team ever to win over 100 games and not make it to the division series.
Yeah, but that's because baseball has a roaming scale. It doesn't matter. Oh, look, now 43 teams make the playoffs. There's only 30. Pull up a couple AAA teams. It's fine.
It's fine.
What are those Savannah Bananas doing right now?
There you go. I was waiting for the Savannah Bananas drop. All right. Power rankings for Week 6 in the NFL.
And here's the thing. Our Carolina Panther fan friends, you will not be disappointed because you don't have to wait to hear your team very long because number 32, them Carolina Panthers. This Sunday, P.J. Walker starts for the Panthers. See if they can blow you to sleep.
Matt Rule has been fired. Phil Snow's out the door as well. You got Steve Wilkes taking over.
The Steve Wilkes era. Mm-hmm. I'm sure this will go down in the pantheons of Panthers history as great times to be alive.
Adam Black has already said, Manny, I'm ready to run through a wall. Because your team sucks so bad. Like, I mean, I get wanting to harm yourself sometimes.
Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
That's
if you're going to suck good.
Yeah.
In Carolina, doing a pretty good job of that right now. It's a good draft class. A lot of players you can add. Nice 10-week trial coming up of Sam Darnold. Much like those of you that went Amazon Prime 30-day trial membership, got the Colts and the Broncos, and you went.
But we've already seen it, right? We've already seen the
best
Sam
3
Darnold
games I've
era.
ever seen out of a quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, but then what happened?
Well, Matt Rule happened. I mean, Matt Rule happened. It's not a good offense. This Ben McAdoo offense fits Sam Darnold way better than it does Baker Mayfield. I think you'll see good things.
Okay. All right, but for now.
And I'm telling you right now, you take this, you put her in the pocket. If Darnold is good.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to be real good.
Mm-hmm.
Get him on a nice bargain basement deal for a year. You are but one bad season away from having Brian Burns and Will Anderson on the same defensive front. Just throwing that out there.
Don't do that. Don't go defense.
You can, and it would be very attractive.
I encourage you. I implore you. Do not do that. You've been going, it feels like they've been going defense for every draft.
It's fun. Now, here's the thing. It's real hard to hit a quarterback. That's a common misnomer of, we're bad, so let's just go draft a quarterback. It'll work out 70% of the time. Doesn't work every time.
True, but if you end up, I mean, we have them at 32, and if that maintains and if they stay in that position, what?
ODI. It's
There you
illegal
go.
in 9 countries.
When we do these,
Hey, I had to
with bits
fade
of
it
real
down because
Panther,
it was playing
so you know
shit
it's good.
back.
when we do these YouTube things, you don't censor the buttons. All right, there's a lot of buttons here that I get to play with when we're not on the terrestrial radio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carolina Panthers, year number 32 in the league. Again, as we continue to say about this team, there are things to like.
Yeah, you don't have
But-
to look at Humpy Dumpy anymore. Of which, do you realize how sad I am that I didn't realize I could call him that until he was fired? He looks like Humpty Dumpty.
Mm-hmm.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Now he's going to go to Arizona State and not matter at all. Ba-dow! I didn't even get a chuckle out of Chuckles on that.
Yeah. Kevin Vick
Sad.
says Tank just wants us to get an untrusted quarterback so we'll still suck like Tampa's going to next season. You got to have a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a quarterback, and you don't have one.
I do want to state for the record that I'm very much here for the next year's NFC South with the best quarterback in the division being Andrew Dalton. Wah, we wah.
It's not going to be fun. It's
No.
not going to be fun for Tampa, obviously. But hey, you got a
No, you're
quarterback
going
for
to
one
make
more
the
year.
you're going to make the AFC South look like the Titans of the Guardians of the NFL. Oh, by the way, I've seen a couple comments in the YouTube comments. So power rankings are the beginning of this show. About 4:30ish, we're going to rope in our Canadan here for all your fantasy football questions. And at some point, we're going to talk about the snuggles.
Yes.
And based on the ticket prices,
I am never going to financially recover from this.
So stupid.
I paid $45 for a hug.
Why would you do that? Number 32, Carolina Panthers. You got at least you got hope now. At least you got hope now that you're going to get.
And I'll be honest with you, you have more hope than the team at 31 because they are not only are they bad, they have a new coach that is also bad, bad. And they have a quarterback that does not belong in the NFL.
It's the Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
At number 31, it has you got 2 wins on the season. Congratulations, because that's 2 more than I thought you were going to win.
It's 2 more than you deserved to win. That team is horrible.
They are, but
I keep seeing them at like 27 in the power rankings going, you honest to God are trying to tell me if the Chicago Bears played the I'll go with Atlanta Falcons or Detroit Lions, who I've seen them in front of more than once today.
But they have more wins than these
One of them
teams.
was in a hurricane, and the other one, I think there was a disturbance in the force, or Mercury was in retrograde, or I don't know. I can't explain that. They're awful. Well, I mean, what stats you want me to throw you?
And they could be 3-3 at the end of this week.
They won't be. You mark my words, they won't be.
Mm-hmm. The Commanders aren't good.
No, but they can score.
Yeah.
And the Bears cannot. The Chicago Bears are averaging 274 yards a game.
Mm-hmm. It's not good.
That's terrible. They're
growth.
60 yards a game behind every team in the NFL passing.
There's growth, though. I mean, Justin Fields just set a career high for passing yards. 208. Let's go.
I've heard that so many times today, and that's like looking at a kid and going, "You didn't shit your pants today. Good for you. That's growth over yesterday where we had to change them 4 times. All right, doing stuff. Let's go."
Velus Jones out here making plays.
Velus Jones is talented with the ball in his hands. The problem is that you just don't have nary enough of those.
Get David Montgomery back. I'm trying to find anything positive.
You can run half-assed because you have a quarterback that runs like a 4.45. I mean, that's fine. Run the veer.
Mm-hmm.
Call Lou Holtz. See what he's doing.
There's no better way to play football. There's a triple option is the most innovative offense that's ever happened in the NFL, and that more teams should do it.
At number 30 this week, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I'm going to level. I don't quite know how anybody would have them any higher. They're so awful.
But Mike Tomlin. Well, Mike Tomlin has a very shitty team.
Pennywise said, "Jeremy, I thought you were about to get fired. Forgot we were YouTube only today."
Yeah.
Nope. That's where we have the swears. This is one of those days where we have the wordy dirds.
Kenny Pickett, not a good quarterback. I don't think this is going to go well.
Look, you're throwing dirt on Kenny Pickett's grave way too early.
I don't think it's going to go well.
No, well, look, he was fine. Kenny Pickett's not the reason they got demolished by the Buffalo Bills.
No, their
the
defense
fact that you
is
keep
terrible.
leaving Minkah Fitzpatrick one-on-one on Gabriel Davis. Because I'm telling you right now, I've seen that look before where a quarterback looks up and goes, "Ha! Oh, watch this." Bye.
Yeah, no, their defense is terrible.
Without T.J. Watt, they're god-awful.
Mm-hmm.
But now here's the thing.
Never won a game without him.
But here's the shining ray of hope. I think you're just kitty littering Kenny Pickett way too early. I'm not telling you he's ever going to be a great quarterback. This is a very good culture. Do you realize that every team in the NFL's had a losing season since 2012? The Steelers hadn't had one since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
It could be fine. And I have a funny feeling that Will Anderson is probably going to end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler. And now you have Will Anderson and T.J. Watt. Yeah, that makes bad quarterbacks look good. When you have a defense that can do that.
Mm-hmm. Look how long it kept Ben Roethlisberger afloat.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a blip year for Pittsburgh. That's the way to look at it.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations, you get to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week.
Armchair.
I'm your huckleberry.
With our first one of those today. He said, "The Bears are good if the forward pass didn't exist." Correct. Oh, God, that gives me an idea, and I'm doing it Thursday. I'm doing it Thursday with the big-ass glasses. Brian Haynes and I are going to record that tomorrow.
You bringing back the Bill Swirsky super fans?
Well, I am Bill Swirsky, and we are the super fans.
How many art attacks is that? That makes a
baker's dozen,
there,
Bill.
Bob.
Bob. Not Bill.
Bob. It was Bill's cousin, Bob.
Oh, I could see a lot of fun coming from that.
I see little hope for Pittsburgh getting any better in this season.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about Mike Tomlin. What the hell is he supposed to do? And no, he's not in any – Mike Tomlin's one of the safest coaches in the NFL. First of all, Pittsburgh doesn't overreact to anything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Bill Cowher had a couple bad years. Chuck Noll had some bad years. They don't overreact. Mike Tomlin's still a very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Just right now, he's drawn the NFL equivalent of a Dolly Parton. He went full 9 to 5. Like, I'm folding this because this hand is not good. Yeah, I can make poker references too. I don't just gamble on sporting events.
Good for you. Good for you.
You got a quarter? We can flip it 100 times and gamble on that too if you want to.
Number 29 this week, it's the Washington Commanders.
I had much higher hopes for this team.
Yeah, we all did.
I really did.
We all did. Remember, this was a team that held Brian Haynes had him in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, and
he was crazy for that. We made fun of him for it.
That was a bad call. You ought not done that. You did, little feller.
Right.
You did, little feller. The offense is fine. I like the weapons. The offensive line's not very good. You undervalued replacing Flowers and Brandon Sheriff, and now you have statue Carson Wentz behind a bad line, and your defense can't play dead in the Western. Now, what do you expect? You know, Ron and look, I've always been down on Ron Rivera. That was never my dude. The man in the keep getting pounded shirt over there can verify this.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of shit from Panthers fans I said routinely, I don't think Ron Rivera's that good of a coach.
He's not.
And now, what does he hang his hat on? Defense. Jack Del Rio, defense. You cannot stop a nosebleed. But, trying to look at positives here, they're good weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sam Howell was the best quarterback in this class,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Sam Howell is going to play for this team before this year is over.
I would agree.
And I think you will see good things that mean they don't have to draft a lottery ticket quarterback in this draft class that's going to be very much beauties in the eye of the beholder.
After they lose to the Bears this week, Sam Howell will be your starter for the Packer game.
And look, this is one of those years that if you're drafting quarterback high, this is going to be a beauties in the eye of the beer holder year.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might be a 2 at 10, but it's a 10 at 2. I feel like it needs to be on a shirt with my face on it. He's a 2 at 10. He's a 10 at 2 because he makes you chuckle. I mean, there are going to be quarterbacks that come out of this draft class that are Josh Rosen bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Richardson. So if Sam Howell's your guy, you're markedly ahead of the other teams we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Carolina Panthers have no clue what they're doing at quarterback. I think it should be Sam Darnold, but I've said that for 5 years now.
It's going to be Sam Darnold.
For now, no doubt.
Yeah. It'll be Sam Darnold until they draft one.
Or maybe it's Sam Darnold forever.
It's not.
And he can be the franchise quarterback of the team we're an affiliate for.
Just stop that.
And we can be best friends.
And do karate in the garage.
Somebody said earlier in the chat, it's a 70% bust rate for quarterbacks. And I get that. But you can't draft at the top of the draft and not take one and risk somebody else ending up with the franchise quarterback. That's my only thought on that. I get Will Anderson's going to be great. But if you miss out on C.J. Stroud and he becomes the next, Patrick Mahomes.
He's not going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, I can tell you that.
Then you're going to,
I think he can be a very good quarterback.
How many times do you see on a given day all of these, little chat groups on Facebook and shit posting out the graphic of, here's all the teams that passed on Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they really fucked up, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. Patrick Mahomes works where he's at. He would not have worked everywhere. I can tell you the Jets were one of the teams that were hot on him. We would have ruined him. That's what people don't ever look at. Oh, this kid went to a place and he succeeded. Doesn't mean he was succeeded everywhere. Ryan Leaf would have been a successful quarterback in the NFL if he wasn't such a dipshit and went to the Chargers, who had the worst culture in the NFL at the time. And I will maintain that until my dying day.
Right.
You got to be careful trusting the rookie quarterback. You ever notice that the same team seem to draft him every 4 years?
Yeah.
You not find that to be an irony? Like, man, these teams can't do shit when it comes to drafting a quarterback. Or maybe they're drafting good quarterbacks and breaking them.
Give me an example. Give me an example of a guy who could have been good, but you broke him. Other than David Carr. Because I think you've always used that example.
Well, David Carr never had a shot. I mean, he was getting hit at the Joe Burrow rate and had no weapons whatsoever.
Right.
So he never had a prayer. A quarterback that's been ruined. Are you talking the last 5 years or just in general?
Just in general. Just give me a guy who we all consider to be a dog shit quarterback when he got to the NFL.
That I think could work somewhere else.
That would have worked somewhere else. He could have been a contender.
Darnold's the best example I got off the top of my head. And it works in reverse, too. Jared Goff goes to the Rams. They turn into the greatest show on turf. Part 2, he winds up in a Super Bowl, and he can't play dead in a Western.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz was great in Philadelphia. Good culture. Had things working. Weird. The worse of a team he's gone to, the worse he has played. He didn't just all of a sudden begin to suck. Jameis Winston.
I mean, he did. I mean, he began to suck after the injury. That's why he lost his job.
Oh, so what, you think a knee injury somehow changed his ability to read a defense? Carson Wentz was going to be the MVP before he blew his knee out. His mechanics haven't dipped off. None of that's happened. He wound up with a Philadelphia team that wasn't as good, and then everybody blamed him. Yeah, I still maintain Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. And you see it at times in Washington.
Mm-hmm. But he's that type of quarterback, though.
RG3, another good example. He was a good NFL quarterback. He went back into a playoff game he never should have. It completely neutered him because he was nowhere near as fast as he was before that. And now he's a half-ass broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Like the good, hate the bad.
Okay.
By the way, if you're pissed off at Troy Aikman for what he said last night, you ain't going to like what I have to say about it.
What was that?
Oh, when he said that the NFL needs to take the dresses off the quarterbacks. A fun story. I had literally just said that before it came out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's see here. Washington Commanders, do you see a turnaround coming at any point?
I think you'll see positives. Ron Rivera needs to not be the coach of the team. But, I mean, this goes from the ownership down. It hasn't mattered who the coach is. It hasn't mattered who the quarterback is. This is a team that just circles the drain.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what needs to happen? Daniel Snyder needs to sell his team to Jeff Bezos.
Then maybe you can get some football people in there to make some good decisions, and we'll see. Because
who with options would work for Daniel Snyder right now?
No one. No one. Nobody's going to do that. But this team, the way it is constructed, it just doesn't work. Your back half is awful on defense.
Awful. And now you've lost Ronald Darby.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, sorry. Ronald Darby's in Denver. Apologies. Florida State guy wanted to slide in a T's and P's.
Right.
Sometimes I do it with the wrong team.
Nice. Yeah, the back half of that defense is god-awful. And so everybody goes, why is this defense so bad?
Brothers gotta hug.
Welcome in, whoever that was.
I am your God. That's a great name for a YouTube channel.
I am your God.
That's my burner account.
I mean, you got all these studs on the defensive line, and people go, this has got to be a great defense. Well, I mean, you can have certain plays that are going to look really good. But for the most part, you're going to be Swiss cheese. And that's what you have with the Washington Commanders.
Well, I mean, and here's the other thing. You ever notice that every team Scott Turner has a big hand in turns into check down Charlie?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. That must be all their quarterbacks suck. If we were keeping score, that would have been 2 for me.
Their quarterbacks do suck. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because I'm tying it back to Scott Turner.
Gotcha. All right, I got you. Washington Commanders 1-4 on the season, come in at number 29.
And now we get to see those Commandos play the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football.
Ugh.
Justin Fields, Carson Wentz, in a game you should only watch if you hate yourself.
It's the NFL. We'll watch it.
100%.
We'll watch it for a minute or two.
100%.
Number 28, it's the Houston Texans. Getting their first win of the year, beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I mean, Dameon Pierce. You have Dameon Pierce, and that's all. End of message, repeat the line.
And the defense does some good things. It's just so young. And look, Houston's figuring things out. You need a quarterback. The offense is an absolute abject disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Davis Mills, this was fun while it lasted. All right, but you need to go get fitted for a turtleneck because, good God, dude, you are awful. I mean, Davis Mills' future is as the live-action animation of a fucking Q-tip. It's not playing quarterback in the NFL. He is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he didn't have much of a chance because he's throwing to Nico Collins and the ghost of Chris Moore and just all these guys that shouldn't even be in the league. It's fine. Be bad. You have your running back of the future, though. Dameon Pierce is every bit the dog I told you he was.
Absolutely.
And he is now a week-in, week-out fantasy start.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 rookies in this – well, actually, theoretically 3 – that are week-in, week-out starters every single week.
Breece Hall,
Dameon Pierce, Kenny Walker III.
Mm-hmm. Now that
They are
Rashad
starts
Penny's
every week.
Now that Rashad Penny is down for the year, this is still what Seattle wants to do. They still want to run the ball. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
Ask Alice with a perfect comment in the comments. The understudy for Davis Mills in that live action of a Q-tip, Mike Glennon.
Aha.
Another long-necked individual.
Naked. That's completely. That's
if you had me saying the word naked during this, I don't think you would have thought it would have been that way.
No, especially when we're going to talk about the snuggle party at some point.
Oh, yes, it's snuggle party. But make sure you wash your ass.
Number 27, Week 6 power rankings. It's the Detroit Lions. They're
not good.
After getting absolutely demolished by the New England Patriots, 29-0 this week. Now yes, there were concerns before, but you were thinking, at least they're going to be a competitive team week in and week out. This was the first week that we've seen them be completely inept.
We've talked about how bad this defense is.
Mm-hmm.
They give up almost 430 yards a game. They're 100 yards beyond half of the NFL. That horrid Commanders defense we were just talking about, 85 yards a game better than them.
Wow.
This is one of the worst defenses I have ever seen. And look, I'm starting to think that the Motor City Madman's not the guy. I'm starting to think that's not the guy that's actually going to lead you to anything.
Okay.
Because he's a Looney Tune. He is a Looney Tune.
So?
Name me a coach that's ever been successful that was a complete batshit lunatic.
That's a good point.
There you go. There's one acceptable.
Rex Ryan.
I knew that's who you were going to say.
Rex Ryan. Oh, we can play karate in the garage.
Rex is my dog. There will be no Rex Ryan slander around here.
Rex Ryan got us to almost 2 Super Bowls.
Rex Ryan brought me my happiest stage as a Jets fan. So you watch your mouth over there. Okay? Gage Kaplan with a super chat. Who's the number 1 quarterback in next year's draft? For me, it's Will Levis. I'm it's not that I'm nervous on Stroud and Bryce Young. It's just they're both so small.
No, you like the size.
Everybody's so small.
Everybody's going to be wild about the size. When you have that 6'4", 6'5", prototypical size quarterback that can be mobile, can stretch down the field, all the things, he's obviously going to rise to the top of the class.
And look, I think Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud can succeed in this league. I just think it's a specific place.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see either one of them in Seattle. I mean, Pete Carroll's making Geno Smith work. I think he can make those two work.
Oh, yeah.
One Nation asked my thoughts on Sean Clifford. He reminds me so much of the kid's name went right out of my head. He's been on the Ravens practice squad forever. It'll come to me in a minute. I just don't think he's an NFL-level quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of guys. Hendon Hooker's a good example. 5 years ago, he's not a prospect in this league.
Right.
Now I look at him and go, right team can make him work.
Well,
Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson have completely changed the way I evaluate quarterbacks because I miss them both gruesomely.
And they have to. The way that works, that's the way it works now. I know that sounds redundant, but the mobile quarterback is the way of the future.
And Clifford would have been an afterthought years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He probably is on a roster at some point. That kid's name is pissing me off.
But he gets as much playing time as Jacob Eason.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, it's not going to be much,
right.
for sure.
Right. Somebody mentioned Jacob Eason earlier. I think it was Kevin Vick in the comments.
What was that kid's name? God, that's going to drive me nuts.
The quarterback that was on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad.
Yeah, he played in a game because I think every other quarterback was dead.
Anthony Brown?
No, Anthony Brown was at Oregon and Boston College.
That was from Stephen Tao. I go to the Baltimore Ravens fan to tell us.
This is going to drive me absolutely insane until I figure out who
Trace McSorley?
Trace McSorley.
The old Penn Stater?
Thank you. Trace McSorley. He could have a role like that because he's got a good enough arm and he's athletic-ish. But I don't think he's a sustainable piece. Thank you,
to
Brandon B.
Our other Canadan, Gage Camplin, for coming through with that.
That was Brandon B. that said
Oh,
Trace
excuse
McSorley.
me. Oh, he said Tyler Huntley.
Gage also asked, should the Eagles keep Hurts or draft a quarterback? It's keep Hurts. I mean, you've built a system here that works.
Yeah.
Trust me, we ain't going to talk about the Eagles for a minute. They're very high on this ranking, and I don't see how – I mean, I'll just level with you. The top three of the NFL, you either have it in the order that we have it in or you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I hate to be that dogmatic about it, but it's kind of the way it is.
Right. Well, I'm on the same page as Lamar Jackson now with Jalen Hurts. Should the Baltimore Ravens get rid of Lamar Jackson? Absolutely fucking not.
Good
You
God,
do
no.
whatever you have to keep that guy in the building. And that's where I'm starting to get with Jalen Hurts. This works. If you can continue to run the ball like you are, it works. Jalen's still got the opportunity or the ability to threaten you down the field, and he can do so many things with his legs. He got like the fourth best rushing offense in the league. So, yeah, no. Jalen Hurts, we were wrong. He can play in this league. And I think there's going to be a lot more like that over and over and over again. You're going to see these athletic guys come into the league, and you're just not the pocket passer is a thing of the past. I don't know that we'll ever have another one.
I can't
Like a true.
I can't 100% agree with that.
Really?
I can't 100% agree with that. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I think it's going to be very rare. The days of statue Tom Brady, that's done.
Yes.
But I can't say that there's never going to be another one that's.
There could be.
It's going to be. It'll be
one.
tough.
You're right.
You better have a hell of an arm.
Indeed.
I mean, a hell of an arm.
So, Detroit Lions, I mean, did this past weekend against the New England Patriots, did that just completely ruin you on the Lions for the rest of the season?
You can't win with a defense like that. You just can't.
Not consistently.
You can't win at all. I mean, this is a 3-14 team. They're going to put up points, and it'll be like Minnesota. Minnesota figures out, oh yeah, just go right at you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not getting home quickly enough. It's not a good team.
Right. On a bye.
Now, and I think it will be in time.
Lions are one of the teams that has a bye this week, along with the Houston Texans. The Dallas Cowboys coming up next weekend in Dallas against the Detroit Lions.
Just wait for those Dallas Cowboy fans. Look how good we are. We beat the Lions.
Yay! Congratulations. At number 27 or 26.
The Denver Broncos. Did you think they'd be here at any time? Did you think we'd see this low?
No, I did not think there would be a point in the season where we would have the Denver Broncos this low in the power rankings, but I mean that's what massive injuries and just a horrible, horrible, horrible coaching job can get for you.
That's a weird way to say quarterback, but okay.
Yeah, I'm still not sold that Russell Wilson is completely cooked. I'm just not. I feel like there is better football in him. He just hasn't found it
He
yet.
has to use his legs. He's refusing to do that.
Mm-hmm. Until
Until he does that, he is irrelevant. He is Colt McCoy with a much bigger name and a smoke show of a wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I got news for you. Next 5 games, Chargers, Jets, Jaguars, Titans, Raiders. You can be 2-10. Or 2-8, excuse me. I did the math wrong.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock me in the least.
No.
If Russ refuses to do what got him here, you are going to be horror awful.
And at some point, he's going to realize that, right? At some point, Nathaniel Hackett will realize that.
Until you prove it to me, I'm not going to believe it. You're 5 games in.
Yeah.
He's got a half-ass arm and really bad field vision.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is
How many times do you have to see a receiver doing this before you go, that guy can't see the field?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Seattle dumbed this down a little bit so that his eye discipline was right. Nathaniel Hackett's not doing that. That's the thing of this that I've yet to hear anybody say. Nathaniel Hackett made his bread working with Aaron Rodgers, who has some of the most disciplined eyes I've ever seen. Russell Wilson was left in a straight line because he had 2 options on every play. I can always bail out and run, but my 2 targets are in a sight line. Because if you're asking a guy to do that much and he's having to bob his head around, you get him killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see when I watch the tape with Denver, is that this is a shitty marriage because you're not doing what got him here. It's like buying a Maserati and taking it to buy fucking groceries.
Right.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah, the blue hairs at the grocery store think it's sweet. Doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense.
I mean,
to
hell,
me.
I said on the show yesterday, we're at the point in the season where you know what these teams are. I'm not saying Denver's going to be good and Russ is going to find something and they're going to go on a 10-game winning streak and they're going to end up making the playoffs. That shit's sailed. That's gone.
I'm your huckleberry.
Not going to happen. Super chat from Gage Camplin. What
Love
happened
Gage.
to Russ? The guy looks lost. Yeah, he does.
It all breaks down to, and look, this is the kind of thing that I say, I mean, Tank can vouch for this. I sit here and do this all the time. I love watching tape. And it all breaks down to the eyes for me.
Mm-hmm.
Of Russ is currently being asked, let me see if I can break this down in a different way. Tom Brady made his hay doing what?
Being really fucking accurate.
Sitting in the pocket and throwing darts.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask Tom Brady to play in the Baltimore Ravens system the way it's built with Lamar Jackson, how successful do you think he would be?
He won't be.
There you go. That's what Denver's asking him to do. Nathaniel Hackett is asking Russell Wilson to be Aaron Rodgers, and he's fucking not. He's not. That's not the way he got here. Satisfied Browns fan said cheating. That's 2 points for you.
Cheating.
That's 2 points for you. That's good for you. But that's the thing. You have to build the system around the team. And Nathaniel Hackett, I don't know that he has that gear. I don't. And if you look back at his career, not been littered with great quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that ruined Blake Bortles. Nobody seems to want to talk about that, but it's true.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I hadn't even thought about that.
He was the one that could not figure out how to make Blake Bortles work.
Right. I mean, it would because it's recency bias. We always go on the most recent thing we see. And they had a hell of an offense with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and so of course he takes over in Denver with all these weapons and a damn good quarterback, top 10 quarterback. We thought at the beginning of the season, it's obviously going to work, but it's obviously not working. And now on top of that not working, he's pissed off his receivers. I mean, I feel like we rarely see a wide receiver who's been in the league for what, 2 years, and KJ Hamler get that pissed at a veteran quarterback who's won a Super Bowl on national fucking television.
Mm-hmm.
That was an embarrassment. And I'm not saying KJ was out of his element by challenging Russ's authority or anything like that. I understand how that could be misconstrued that that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this team does not work.
Not as it's currently constructed, no.
No.
Nathaniel Hackett's going to have another gear. And that is one of the reasons that coordinators fail so often as coaches, as head coaches, because they do something that works the way it's constructed, and then they have no way to audible. It's just, it is what it is. And if that's the case, then he's going to be out of a job in a year.
Gage says it's Denver's fault for trying to recruit Rodgers. Why would you not have?
Oh, and I'll be honest with you. If Aaron Rodgers was here with Nathaniel Hackett, this team would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll level with you. If Russell Wilson was playing in Green Bay with Matt LaFleur, that team would be good. But that's not how the cookie crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's a question of, can we adjust?
Yeah, Jason Trump, that's exactly what I'm saying. The locker room is a fucking mess.
It is.
And you have no brooms. You have no brooms. You have no mops. You have nothing to clean it up.
Taking my broom to Denver, Colorado, because it's a mess.
So at number 25.
Good
25,
Lord.
The Indianapolis
Why
Colts.
don't you write that number down? The next one will be 24. Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
They are not good.
Mm-mm.
They are not good at football.
And they're definitely not good without Jonathan Taylor, but I'm not sure they're good with him. I mean, he's played the first 4 games of the season. He played, and he didn't do much.
If you get into the real nitty-gritty of Indianapolis, there's just nothing there. They're the 3-cheese chicken penne. When it works, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
When it doesn't, it's not. I used to have a joke doing stand-up about a 3-cheese chicken penne. You see somebody very in shape that's probably going for a run later. Brian Hall orders that. And you go, oh, it's responsible carb load before you run.
Right.
I order it, and you go, how many complex carbohydrates are in that, you fat shit? That's Indianapolis. When it works, it's fine.
I was going to say, you also ordered the Endless Bowl, so.
What are you, cop?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying there's a big difference. Big difference.
There's not much there.
Mm-mm.
And the fact that you went into this season with this receiving the core the way it is, it just seems really short-sighted for me in a guy in Chris Ballard that I think is really bright. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
The offensive line has been awful for them this year.
Shockingly bad outside of Quentin Nelson.
Bernard Raymond is just over his skis.
Bernard Raymond's barely played. His total snap count, I think, is under 100.
Every time I've seen him on the field, though, it looks like he is just awful.
Bernard Raymond's total snap count, I think he was finally forced to play. Oh, I was wrong. He's played 106 snaps.
There you go.
I mean, he was a developmental piece anyway. There were teams that thought he was a guard.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's having to play left tackle for a statue.
I was going to say, fuck, he used to be a tight end, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He's a big old bear. Big dancing bear, folks. Gage said Matt Ryan looks like a toddler learning to walk. Yes, he does. That's a really good analogy. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your huckleberry.
There it was. I beat the sound to it.
There it was.
Got all those things automated now. You used to have to push those buttons.
You wanted it to be better. It's not. Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich gone.
Oh, no doubt.
There's no doubt in my mind.
And I'll be honest with you, that will be an attractive job for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That will be an attractive job for somebody.
I look at them a lot like the Carolina Panthers. You got a lot of good pieces. You just need to find those couple of pieces that make it work. Head coach, quarterback, top of the list.
Mm-hmm. If you keep doing this thing every year, and I'll be honest with you, Ron Rivera got killed for what he said about Carson Wentz. He's absolutely right. If you keep trying to rebuild an offense every year with a quarterback, you'll never have one.
Mm-mm.
Ever. It doesn't work that way. You have to build the system around the guy.
Yep. Number 24, the Seattle Sea Chickens.
I still don't really think they're good.
I still feel like this is too low, though.
You said that when we set up this list.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell am I supposed to have in front of?
Atlanta Falcons.
The Genos, except they lost to Atlanta.
I don't care.
You should, because that's kind of the A number one way of figuring out who's better than who because they play each other in the winter.
So New York Giants need to be up at number 5 ahead of the Green Bay Packers because they just beat them. It's the same logic.
Well, except for the fact that these two were very close and those two were not. It's not the same logic.
Mm-hmm.
I am not overreactionary when it comes to rankings. I still look at Seattle and go, you just lost to Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing else. They're playing much harder and much scrappier than I ever thought this team would. Do you think this is who Geno Smith is?
No.
Okay, then.
There's no way he's a top 10 quarterback in this league.
No. And it's going to bear itself out. That's the way the NFL works.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Cardinals this week. I could see them getting this one because it's at home. After that, you go Chargers, Giants, at the Cardinals, at the Bucks, Raiders, at the Rams. You tell me which one of those games they're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that goes the way I
can't
just
tell you
said,
that because
you're
I would have
3-9.
told you they'd have lost every game they played already. So I clearly don't know my ass from a hole in the ground.
Like I said that.
It's got to keep it real.
Like how you said that.
Got to keep it real.
I mean, Seattle's look. They're fine. The defense is a disaster. It's the worst defense in the NFL in a league that has the Detroit Lions.
Mm-hmm.
How in the hell am I supposed to have them ahead? All right, and I'll just go to the next team. The next team on my list is the Cleveland Browns, who defense has also been a problem. They have Nick Chubb. They have Amari Cooper, who has been way better than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Those two teams play each other. You got to bet your house on it. Who you taking?
Cleveland.
There you go. End the message. Repeat the line.
Mm-hmm. Here's a fantasy question from Jason Trump. How much fab do you spend on Kenneth Walker?
25%.
All of it. Spend all of it.
There's a reason you asked me these questions. 25 to 35%, depending on how deep the league is. If it's real shallow, 10 team, 16-person bench, I'll go 25%. If it's 12, probably go to 35.
Anything bigger than that, I would imagine he's not.
And it
gonna
also
be
depends on your
anyway.
roster. If you're desperate for a running back, you shoot 75% of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that really limits you because this will not be the last time that happens. And there's a possibility that Seattle's behind a lot more than we've seen them. Kenny Walker's not as good as Rashad Penny. There's a lot of ranges of outcomes here where you end up taking one of the few arrows in your quiver and shooting it in the air and hoping it doesn't land on your foot.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan Welch says the Seahawks have the grit that Dan Campbell's been preaching in Detroit.
They absolutely do. They just have a huge talent deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if you watched our draft coverage, I was super right about Tariq Woolen because he is a dog.
Yes.
We talked about him for, 2 solid rounds of how has he not come off the board yet?
Mm-hmm.
He's a freaking unicorn. He's a giant that runs a 4.3, 4.40 and has good feet. I'll never understand how he fell so far.
One Nation Underground says Seattle finishing higher than the Rams?
No shot.
Question mark?
No shot.
They're ahead of them now.
Seattle's going to be – there's a team like this every single year that they're just a headache.
Mm-hmm.
They're just a raging-ass headache, and that's what Seattle's going to be. Satisfied Browns fan said, damn beard, and I'm going to assume that he's talking about the Browns. Here's my problem. All right, I want to be higher on Cleveland than I am.
Mm-hmm.
You keep losing games that don't make any fucking sense. You should not have lost to the Chargers. You 100% should have not lost to my Jets. That's one of those things that doesn't tend to correct itself. Amari Cooper's been good. Jacoby Brissett's been better than I thought he would be.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Chubb's been the best running back in the league. The thing I can't wrap my head around, I thought this would be a pounded out, run the ball, play defense kind of team. The defense has blown dead bears. Austin Eckler eviscerated you. Mike Williams eviscerated you. Those are the only two things they had. It's the only two players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to be a ground and pound defensive team. You can't stop a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. What do you think's going to happen when you play Baltimore or Cincinnati? I just can't have you any higher than. Now, do they have growth potential that every team below them doesn't have? Yes, they do. And when if you can just be half-assed until Deshaun Watson comes back, you can make me look like a moron.
And I think they will be. I think they will be half-assed.
I don't know. I cannot wrap my head around Cleveland. I watch so much of the now, and I will say, a very astute comment by Satisfied Browns fan. He said, hopefully Deion Jones will fix that. He could. Because I said that was the sleeper sitting out there for any team that doesn't play a 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason he got exiled in Atlanta. It's not because he's bad. It's because he doesn't fit the defense. And that was a very good move by Cleveland, and that could have an effect.
Wide-ranging effect, yeah.
That's one of those moves, Devondre Campbell last year.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to talk about it. It didn't lead SportsCenter. Low-key little move. 3 weeks from now, you watch the Browns and go, that looks different than it did.
Well, they're going to need to find some defense because they got the Ravens, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Bills and the Bucks coming out. Well,
and
I'll leave the Bucks out of that because the offense doesn't look great right now.
Yeah, that's the thing is that schedule is so damn daunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like Stefanski. I think this has started really ugly.
Could be the other than the Thursday night football game, could be the gross fest of the week as they take on the New England Patriots this week.
Ooh, That's one of those games. That's a game only a mother could love.
I mean, if you love running the football, if you want to see run the damn ball, well, watch Cleveland and New England because that's what they're going to be doing.
Oh, Bailey, you break your mother's heart. I've been watching The Sopranos. Don't judge me.
So the Cleveland Browns come in at number 23 this week. I'm with you, satisfied Browns fan. I think he's too low.
That's the team we argued about.
Yeah, we did.
Specifically about the team directly in front of them.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons.
There's no one problem. You fucking lost to them.
Yeah. Could have beat them.
You lost to them, and it was not a fluke. Atlanta and Seattle are the two teams that there is no reason you should be winning games. I fully believe, and Tank went full homer on me when I said this, we live by a very simple credo. # no homer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say we, I mean me, because I have a mouse in my pocket. Yeah, I think if Atlanta had gotten the ball back, you'd have hung L. At home to Atlanta. I fully believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's they have bought into the highest degree. And yes, you have a gross talent deficiency. I mean, when Olamide Zaccheaus is somebody that you're really hanging your hat on, you're not very talented.
Mm-hmm.
And I need Kyle Pitts to just stop being terrible. And he will. Give him time.
And he will.
I think so. I mean, I've been offered Kyle Pitts for nothing. And I'm taking it everywhere.
Okay. I mean, you make it sound like when they played, the Browns just had no shot to win that game.
No, what I said, I didn't make it sound that way at all. If that's how you heard it, it's on you. I said it wasn't a fluke. This wasn't look, somebody shit in their pants and the Falcons wound up with a football in the end zone. No, they beat them. They beat you. It was not once in a lifetime, one shining moment kind of Cinderella Butler miracle.
They play that game. They play that game again. You're fully on Atlanta to win.
I can't say I'm fully on them. That's why they're one's 22, one's 23.
I get it.
If you told me I had to bet my house on one of those teams and had to, it would probably be Atlanta.
Okay. All right.
That's the way I look at it.
Number 21 this week. Week 6 power rankings here in the Sportsocracy, coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. New England Patriots, number 21.
There are things to like with New England. I know I talk a lot of shit about them because, well, they've ruined 20 years of my life. So I take the shots when I can.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack Jones, dog. Jonathan Jones, dog. Matthew Judon has his moments. The problem is that you can only win one way. If New England gets behind, they are doomed.
Mm-hmm.
Not against the teams that are already on the screen, but if you play a good team, you have to control the ball. You have to control the line of scrimmage, and you can win games that way. And this is going to sound like I'm taking a shot, and I'm not. I don't actually think there's a difference between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe. I don't think there's a difference. I think this is a system that an accurate quarterback works in. And that's fine. That's fine. You have no ceiling whatsoever. You're not making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go 7-10? Absolutely. I do not understand what the purpose of that is when you have a 70-year-old coach. But, I mean, it's a competitive team. That's not a team you want to play.
No.
This is not like going to the Lions where you go, hey, sweet, we're going to score 57 points today. It's going to be one of those that you walk away on Monday and go, shit, my whole body hurts. This sucks. But we won.
Okay. New England, they're not good. We know they're not a contender.
They just have a lack of of talent. But now Jacoby Myers, he a dog.
Is he?
Jacoby Myers a dog.
Okay.
That's the only receiver on that team they trust. Gave up the 3rd-round pick for Devontae Parker. Don't trust him as far as they can throw him.
Mm-hmm.
They trust Jacoby Myers. And based on what I've seen, they should.
Well, he has been the best player on that offense.
No doubt.
For 2 years now.
Specifically the best one not named Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, you want to talk about dogs. He a dog. Ramondre is a dog. And hopefully he will continue to get the lion's share of the toad. Obviously, Damian Harris being hurt, that helps him out. He is doubtful for this upcoming week against the Cleveland Browns, so get ready, as I
For
said,
Ramondre Day.
for Ramondre Stevenson versus Nick Chubb.
I may play them both in DraftKings lineups.
I'm gonna, because I actually have a couple of teams that have both of them on it.
Be very careful doing that, just because game script, that makes it very likely that limited touches for both.
But does anybody get behind in this game to the point where they have to start throwing?
Doesn't matter. The clock never stops rolling. So as opposed to, all right, let me just look at the schedule. So you take a game like, nope, that's the Packers and the Jets. Both of them like to lean on the pass entirely more than they should. Vikings, Dolphins. All right, Vikings, Dolphins is going to be a throw fest. You could see 75, 80 plays run from the winning side in that game. The winning side in New England, Cleveland might run 52 plays. So it just really throttles your upside because the clock never stops rolling.
It's a good point.
I make one of those every once in a while.
At number 20 this week, the Arizona Cardinals.
I feel like I say the same thing every time we talk about Arizona. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. They're more than 20 in the NFL talented. They're not better than 25th in the NFL coached. The Kyler Murray thing. I blame him for that, but I blame Cliff for it too. I mean, in the moment, the quarterback has to be the one that makes that decision.
Right.
And you do this all the time. That's not a weird – when I saw him do that, everybody lost their shit and it became like a huge topic of conversation. It didn't surprise me in the least. I went, yeah, that's what Kyler Murray does.
Yeah.
He does things that make absolutely no freaking sense on a regular basis.
Had a wide open path to get the first down, to get the extra yard that would have helped them kicking the field goal. Slides a yard before the first down marker, brings up a 3rd and 1, and then spiked it, lost them a yard, and they missed the field goal.
The other thing that needs to be talked about is that the defensive structure here doesn't work. We slowed down Jalen Hurts. Yeah, because you have 7 guys on your defense that can fly. The problem is they can't stop anybody. You're so little that you just get ground out. The Rams did it to you. The Eagles did it to you. And teams will continue to do that to you all year long.
I mean, it's like they're trying to play Pac-12, Big 12
They
football.
almost are. They play 3-3-5, which is that's a college defense. There's a reason we don't do this in the NFL. Because it doesn't make a ton of sense, at least not as a base. You can have that as a package. You're trying to do this routinely, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you're really fast. That's phenomenal, except for when you play a team that can just run the damn ball down your throat, and they do.
At the Seattle Seahawks this week. I'm not confident. I'm not confident that they can come up with the win here.
It's almost Kenny Walker season.
So look forward to next week, Seattle and Arizona swapping places in the power rankings, should that happen.
Kenny Walker.
I like you, and I want you. And we can do it the easy way or the hard way.
Can you not hear that?
I can't hear it.
Oh, because you've got one of your fucking headphones off.
Oh.
It only comes through one channel.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I heard nothing on that one. I was waiting for you to say he a dog.
No. I played the I likes you and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Number 19, the Las Vegas Raiders. And last night.
Hold on, before we move on, there's an interesting comment in the chat. Chris D said the difference between Mac Jones and Zapp is the difference between Jimmy G and Trey Lance. I don't know that I can agree with that. Because I've read it now twice, and I don't know which one's which. Those two quarterbacks are just accurate guys that are not going to turn the ball over. There's no Trey Lance upside in either one of them.
No.
There's not. I mean, and I'll argue that to my dying breath. Mac Jones is never going to win you a Super Bowl. Now, can you just stack up players around him? Maybe. I mean, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl that way. That was a long-ass time ago. I mean, to me, they're both Jimmy Garoppolo.
You have to be able to draft to do that.
They're both Jimmy Garoppolo, and you don't have that level of weapon. You don't have a Debo or a George Kittle or, hell, even Elijah Mitchell.
No, you have a Jonnu Smith. And
Woo! Hunter Henry. Woo!
Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, it's the 7-10iest team I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. All right, now we ready to move on? Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders last night.
You're going to tell me I'm drunk on this, and that's fine.
I felt like last night we saw a lot of fight out of the Raiders against what we consider to be one of the best teams in the NFL. They always play them tough. It's a division rivalry. I get it, but I do feel like they're starting to figure something out.
Here's what they need to figure out. Run the damn ball! Josh Jacobs was killing Kansas City.
Yep.
Not hurting them. Not a little pinprick. I'm talking full Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. You're bleeding on the carpet. I understand he got 21 carries. I get that. He should have had 40. And I'm not the guy that usually says that.
Mm-hmm.
Josh McDaniels makes my brain hurt. And I cannot emphasize this enough. I don't know if Mac Hollins has a weird picture of you putting your Peter on a fucking penguin, but whatever he has, he sucks a lot. Oh, but he had that one big game. I think I must have been defending him because that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. If that's the second best receiver on your team, you need to draft better because good God almighty, he sucks. That felt great. I literally watched that, and I watched every second of that game last night, and I think I cussed Mac Hollins about 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams is damn ridiculous. Maybe don't throw a photographer in his way. He doesn't seem to like that. But I saw a gear from that Raiders team yesterday, and I'm going to make a sweeping declaration. You know how I love doing that.
Mm-hmm.
The Las Vegas Raiders are 1-4 right now. They have a bye week. Then they go Texans, Saints, Jaguars, Colts, Broncos, Seahawks. They are 1-4 right now. That team will be 7-4. You heard it here first.
6-game winning streak.
You're going to come off that bye. You're going to get healthy, and you're going to have figured out that 6 offensive lineman thing works. And it's really hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody could do it, it would be Kansas City that has that penetrating, one-gap shooting Chris Jones. And they made him look like a damn fool against the run time after time after time. That Raiders team is not dead. You mark my words.
What? So I didn't see the game in real time. What happened with Darren Waller? Did he get hurt?
Yeah, he had a hamstring.
He had a hamstring. Did he play at all?
6 snaps.
That was it.
Yeah, because Darren Waller has the pain threshold of a gummy bear. That's who he is.
This is just who he is. Nice.
I got a hangnail. I got to go home.
Because
we've all worked with that guy. And look, you can be buddies with him. It's fine. Some people just, they don't deal with pain well.
Because as I went through trying to figure out what happened in the game last night, because all of my fantasy teams that had Darren Waller had big zeros beside him, and I went, what the fuck?
Yeah, you had one fantasy team in which you were playing me, and I was actually wanting to take players out. Like, can this stop happening? Because I'm starting to feel bad about what I'm doing to you.
Oh, yeah.
I scored 250 in a league that you don't do that.
To my 130 or something.
I don't know that you broke 130. I stopped paying attention because I went, literally, I think it was Waller you had.
Yeah.
He's out, so you're doomed there. You had another player. I think it was maybe Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
They could literally have kicked 47  onsides. And Daniel Carlson broken the NFL record 47 times hitting field goals. You would have still lost to me.
Mm-hmm.
I went, okay, let's.
Don't need to look at that
other things
anymore.
to see. We're moving on here.
Indeed. Don't need to look at that anymore. Las Vegas Raiders, though, I mean, last night, despite the fact that it was another loss and you dropped a 1-4, you showed a lot of grit.
I'm going to very vehemently say I am still very much on that Raiders team.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something last night. That was a place that you could have gotten your ass kicked. And look, you let them come back. That's what Kansas City does.
Number 18, Week 6 power rankings.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Look, I know that somebody's going to say, that's too high on New Orleans. Maybe. But that Taysom Hill thing is so hard to defend. If you'll just stop turning the ball over, would you like to hear the list of teams whose turnover differential is worse than the Saints?
Would you like to hear it again?
Would you like to hear it a freaking again? They are -9 in turnovers.
Yikes.
There are only, I think, 8 teams in the NFL that are below 0.
That's completely opposite of the leader of the league,
which is the Philadelphia Eagles are -8.
Oh,
-8. I mean,
they're -8.
Philadelphia's
Okay.
+9.
Yes.
New Orleans is -8. The other teams down there with them are the Commanders, Colts, and Rams. What do they all have in common? They don't look nearly as good as we thought they did.
Mhm.
Stop turning the damn ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Not that hard. Not that hard. New Orleans doesn't turn the ball over. That's a tough team to beat. Now, you put that defense on the field constantly in short yardage situations, they're not as hard to beat. Because then you take away the Taysom Hill and the Alvin Kamara, and it's on the Ginger Pea Shooter and post-LASIK Jameis Winston. Yeah, I'm not shocked that the team's 2-3.
So you think there's a possibility of a turnaround coming?
Stop turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I put them in a place that I can go either way. If you keep turning, if this becomes if it doesn't get better, and look, I'm going to tell you, this week, not going to go particularly well. But then you catch a Cardinals team on the road that is super undisciplined before a long 10-day layoff that you can do a lot of getting right. The schedule's just evil.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I look at New Orleans' schedule, it's just evil.
Yeah. You go Raiders, Ravens.
Steelers, Rams, 49ers, Bucks. It's evil.
Mm-hmm.
They may be one of those teams that the record never catches up to what I think they are. But I still think it's a good team. I think it's a hard to game plan for team.
Number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's a team that I don't know what the fuck you are.
Yeah, you got to take a tumble after you lose to the Houston Texans, giving them their first win of the season.
Yeah, this team's bipolar.
Yeah, your offense has lost all semblance of itself after the first quarter of the Philadelphia game.
Yeah, this team is bipolar. They have now lost 3 games to the 2 worst teams they played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that even a little bit. I watched more of that Texans-Jaguars game than I wanted to. Jacksonville beat them in every facet of this game. Every single facet. But what did they do? Turn the damn ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the ball over. Trevor Lawrence wasn't good, but I mean, he still got weapons. I can't have any higher than this. I really don't quite know what they are. I think they're a young team that's going to make you want to pull your freaking hair out.
Super chat from cousin Colin Greene.
And I can't disagree.
He says he's tired of Tyrann Mathieu's face.
Tyrann Mathieu looks like a player that is being held in New Orleans against his will. If you didn't see him on the touchdown to DK Metcalf where he got right there and went, no, I don't want to touch you. You got a cooties. That's where I went, oh, God. Things have not. Things are not going well there for him.
Not going well. Jacksonville Jaguars coming in at number 17. All right. Before we get into the top half of the league, I feel like this is a good opportunity to talk about the cuddle party.
Oh, I thought you were going to say to have a heater.
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea either.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea.
So take a quick...
We've gone literally 72 solid minutes without a break, and I actually have to make a phone call, which will take about 30 seconds.
All right, so we'll take a quick break, have a heater. We'll come back, talk about the cuddle party, and get into the top half of the Week 6 Power Rankings here in the Sportsocracy, coming to you from the Ingles Studios. Low prices, love the savings. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
It got real dark there for a second.
You enjoying the silence?
We mistimed that. Apologies.
What are you gonna do? Hey, maybe you can maybe you can have fun at the old cuddle party.
The Asheville snuggle party.
The Asheville snuggle party.
This is a thing for people that ask, what's it like to live in Asheville? We're gonna have a snuggle party. It's called an evening of sensual snuggles.
Mm-hmm. This past Friday, apparently, a whole bunch of people showed up to snuggle in downtown Asheville.
Uh-huh. And they have all kinds of rules.
They do.
My favorite is in the policies in FAQ. Please come to your session clean, free of strong odors. This includes perfume, cologne, and essential oils. You can wear your daily clothes, although some clients prefer to wear sweatpants, pajamas, or other comfortable clothing. And now look, I'm not going to say I've spent a ton of time in strip clubs in my life, but I spent enough.
That's what a lot sounds like.
Maybe a little bit. If you see somebody show up to a snuggle party or a strip club in a pair of sweatpants, avoid that guy. Because that guy's weird. All right, that guy wants to. How much would you charge me for 8 pictures of your feet?
Don't do weird.
Saying that
things.
to us, like
don't do weird feet things.
Yeah, just okay. The other thing that really pissed me off, and I don't have the screenshot of it. It's on my phone, not on my computer screen. Tell me that this is not the most ass backwards millennial shit you've ever heard in your life. The general admission ticket for this is $45
Which is stupid. Like,
It's
I would pay
insane.
$45 to go to most concerts.
And then there's a sliding scale ticket for those of you that don't maybe don't have the financial means. And under the $45 general admission, for people who have an abundance of money, we encourage you to pay at the top of the pay scale to help offset the cost for those who cannot afford this event.
And the question is, what's the fucking cost? What does it cost to have a whole bunch of people get together and snuggle each other?
The other thing that makes me very nervous is that there is a pre-approved scholarship ticket, which is $15. What do you have to do to get approved for that? I want to know what the selection committee of that is.
Do I have to write an essay about how much I'm longing to be touched by a stranger?
Do I have to send in a picture and show that nobody's liked me on Tinder since 2018? And then there's a pre-approved work trade ticket. Mm-hmm. And there's 9 of those available. How much work actually goes into this? Because, see, here's where my demented brain went. That means you think there's going to be a lot of cleanup, which gives me that chicken skin thing. It's all bad. It's not good.
And they say, the organizers say, this is a non-sexual touch-based event.
Oh, I have no fear. They have sensual ones, too. They're on the website. And if you're curious what the website is, it's holdmeavl.
Holdmeavl.com. Nice.
Good Lord. Go to a bar and do a couple shots like the rest of us. Good Lord.
Non-sexual touch-based event that invites participants to explore platonic intimacy in a safe environment.
I'm out. Jason Trump said this should be a torture ticket, is that one of us has to go to this. I swear to you, yes. I would eat a broken bottle.
Yes.
I would set myself on fire.
See, Jeremy hates to be touched.
Oh, absolutely.
He hates to be touched. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you know him or you don't know him. I mean, especially if you don't know him, don't touch him because he will fucking knock your block off.
Yeah, but I'm a handshaker, but I'm not a hugger.
Here's the thing, like Jeremy and I, we've been like best friends for what, 3 years now?
Yeah,
at least 3 years. And one day, Jeremy's having a shit day. I mean, just total shit day, feeling down and out. And I went, man, there's nothing more in the world that I'd want to do right now than just give you a hug, because you need some non-sexual touch based event stuff happening right now.
And my exact response, I believe, was, "I'll punch you right in your jejunum."
It did. I was like, I would give you a hug right now. And before I could say anything, he goes, "I will hurt you.
I will actually break you.
I know you will. But this I just don't get.
No,
I don't
weird.
get paying $45 to show up with strangers.
It's the most Asheville thing I've
They do
ever
have
seen.
rules, though. They do have rules. Number 1 rule: clothes stay on the entire time.
Hey, over the pants and stuff. Heard. That's what you just said. That's what you said without saying.
Number 2: you do not have to touch anybody at this event. Then why the fuck would I pay for it?
Well, it's kind of like saying I'm going to go to a strip club and spend $45 to ask Cinnamon about my fantasy football team. See how stupid it sounds when you say it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me, that's what we all hear.
Just keeping.
And the reason that we want to talk about this, we don't do politics on the ESPN Asheville show. But there are times that I really want to. Like, desperately want to. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I feel like there's 48% of people on each side of the political ledger that hear this and go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And that's how we mostly feel about most things.
Yes.
I think 96% of us agree on damn near everything. There's 4% that predominantly have Twitter accounts that are the reason that we all think we're so divided. And I'm going to run for president on that very model. I might get 400 fucking votes. But you know what? That's 400 more votes than Joe Biden got legally.
Stay off.
So there's that. I stole Kevin Vick's joke.
Nice.
I couldn't help it.
Gage Camplin, a big fan of the Will Ferrell references.
Oh yeah, I love Will Ferrell.
Number 3 rule for the cuddle party: you must ask permission and receive a verbal yes before you touch anyone. Please be specific in your requests. Then that parlays into rule number 4, that if you feel a yes, say yes. If you feel a no, say no. If you're a maybe, say no. You can always change your mind.
Chauncey Major asked, what's the population in Asheville? 90,000?
Somewhere in
I think
that
it's 90,000 in the city.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
And if you look at, all right, so I like visual aids. I'm a very visual person. Need a marker. If this pad of paper was the people in Asheville, this is the group of people that doesn't think this is the stupidest thing they've ever heard in their life. And that dot is the people that will participate. Now, the perception of Asheville is that dot is all of us. And it's not. It's not. It's not.
No.
There are like 74 people in this entire town that go, let's be just weird as shit. The only bad thing is like 7 of them are in city government.
If you feel a yes, say yes.
Tank is so Matthew Hoffman said you couldn't see the piece of paper. So the entire sheet is the population of this city. The circle is the weird people, and the dot is the super weird snuggle party people.
I feel like the dot's a little bigger in Asheville, but
it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm the most offensive.
Have you been downtown lately?
Oh God, no! I avoid that place like it's on fire. I am probably the most offensive person that is on any form of air in this city. Is that fact or fiction?
Fact.
That is fact. I do not get inundated with shit in the city of Asheville. I never get. People come up to me and they will I hate everything you say, but I think you're funny as shit. I hear that all the time. Most of the hate I get is on Twitter. Literally, most of the crap I get.
Well, yeah, because the people who would give you shit aren't listening to our radio show. They're, doing nerdy shit.
Yeah,
like cuddle parties.
Yeah, they're going to snuggle parties. Conversations living room with RJ. RJ said the dot is closer to half the circle. You might be right. I might have undervalued the dot.
What's this? Stephen Tao says Tank's going to see if he can get a free ticket from one of the
abundance of money.
Money
he's gonna see if he can't get one of those Scully tickets.
Can I get a scholarship ticket for $15?
Can I can see Tank going full Chris Rock going, if I give you $4, can I just stand and hug myself? That a thing?
I don't know. I mean, I can't snuggle without touching a tit. So, I mean, and I'm going to have to ask. You mind if I touch that?
Boop.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not the snuggly one. No, I'm personally planning on going to my own party where nobody touches me, and I call that life.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of that.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's get back into the power rankings here. Number 16.
We have a special guest for the second half of the power rankings. and for fantasy football questions.
Oh, nice. Armchair commentary. David
Correct.
Smith.
Wait for it.
Here he comes.
Wait for it.
Ah.
Wait for it. Bow! There he is.
Or,
Gentlemen.
that way.
All right, he's super quiet. If I can hear it, it means he's superiorly quiet.
Of course.
There he is.
What would a day without an audio gaff be at the Sportsocracy? Does it even happen?
Oh, you know what's funny? I have simplified everything graphically for this show to the stupidest point in the world, and yet I still screw something up every single freaking day, and it makes me so angry.
Say again, we are professionals, folks. This is professional YouTube production.
We use the word professional very liberally.
Yeah. Hey, you said a nice thing about my Patriots, and I wanted to thank you for that. I marked it on the calendar because it's the nicest thing you've said about the Patriots in the 3+ years that I've known you now.
Well, I mean, they are the bane of my existence, so it's hard for me to do.
Ramondre.
Number 16 in the Week 6 Power Rankings.
My Jets, Jets.
And I'll be honest with you, I thought you were low. I had them at 14 on my Power Rankings.
I live by a simple mantra. # no homer. I can't have many higher than that. All right. Zach Wilson he's yet to have a 300-yard game. He's yet to have a 3-touchdown game. I can't say what I said about New England and not say the same thing about the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets can win one way. Heavily Breece Hall, heavily Michael Carter, sprinkling of Zach Wilson, and have the defense be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the defense is good. The defense is young, and it's going to have bad weeks. This might be one of them.
I don't think so.
A lot of people don't, and that's what scares the shit out of me.
Listen, the Patriots forced Aaron Rodgers to have a game-winning drive. Why can't the Jets do the same thing?
I don't namely disagree with you, but it's the Jets, and they've hurt me so many times.
Well,
And
things.
I'm so nervous to allow them to hurt me again. That
Spread's Jets +7 though.
it is
Jets +7.
That's the other thing that makes me nervous. I've seen Jets +7. It doesn't end so hot.
Ugly. I don't like anything about this Packers team right now, other than Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't look entirely like himself. The receivers will figure out eventually. I just don't know if it'll be in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this game. This is a benchmark game for the Jets. This is a game that you really have no business winning.
True.
None. But if you can stay competitive, it tells me a lot.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this is your benchmark moment.
I would agree with that. This is a game that you have no business winning. If you somehow win it, then you're exponentially further along than I thought. Lisa in our YouTube chat said Zach Wilson's cute, but he looks too young to grow hair. He probably is.
Mm-hmm.
But he a dog.
Not too young to message your mom.
100%. He is the original motherfucker.
Good for you, Armchair. That's points. The Jets come in at number 16. And at number 15,
the New York Giants.
That's right. We got both the New York teams in the top half of the league. New York Giants sitting there at 4-1 after beating the Green Bay Packers in London. It's the ceiling.
What is
I
the
feel like
ceiling
they've
for
hit
the,
it?
What is the ceiling for the Giants?
Yeah.
It's not high, but you're 4-1 with the NFC East is like the Bermuda Triangle of the NFL.
Okay.
You got two teams that are 4-1 that could not play dead in the Western at quarterback. How the fuck does that work? That flies in the face of everything we have ever thought about the NFL. They both are terrible at quarterback, and yet here you are.
Yeah, but it's also been a lot of luck, a lot in the schedule. You haven't played great teams. So I mean, yeah, there's a chance to win a lot of games, or so far anyway. You're 4-1. But I mean, the first week you beat the Titans after going for 2 and damn sure should have lost the game if the kicker could have kicked the fucking field goal. You beat the Panthers by 3. Whoopty shit. That's a god-awful team.
Mm-hmm.
Lost a close one to the Cowboys. You beat the Bears by a score.
You beat the Packers.
And then the Green Bay Packers were struggling mightily.
You have a win at the Titans, and you have a win in London against the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two that smudge this for me. Because that doesn't make any sense. If you're not good, you shouldn't have won either one of those games. But you did.
Mm-hmm.
This team tells me that a run game and coaching is more important in the NFL than people think.
Oh, yes. It absolutely is. Look, we talk about the Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson thing all the time. There's more than one way to skin a cat, or as I always like to say, there's more than one way to screw a chicken. And the Giants and, I'll be honest with you, the Jets are both proving that. And that's why I lumped them together, because I'll be honest with you, I don't know. The Jets are more talented. The Giants have a better resume. And at some point, the resume has to mean something. It is hard as hell to play in London.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard as hell to beat Aaron Rodgers. You did both at the same time.
The end of the year, a W is still a W. They're not going to look back and go, "Oh, we only won by 3 points." Like they're still winning the games. It's really hard to place, and I get it because it makes no sense. But we have to avoid that look at last year versus this year thing that we often do, which is like the Giants are supposed to be bad. Well, healthy Saquon makes a big difference. That's a real impact player.
Absolutely, and there's no denying that. I'm just wondering how long can this continue? And honestly, looking at the schedule,
it's quite a ways.
There's a chance that this team could be, 8-2, 9-2. Because you got the Ravens this week. I don't like your chances.
No.
But then you go at the Jaguars. There's a team that can shit their pants.
And they love doing it against teams that they shouldn't.
You go to the Seattle Seahawks. That's going to be tough, but there's no reason. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to go in there and beat them just like you did Tennessee.
Saquon may have 2 bills that week.
Houston Texans, Detroit Lions, at the Cowboys, Washington Commanders. That's a hell of a recipe for some more wins coming their way.
It very much is.
Hell, they could damn near punch a ticket to the playoffs before they have to play the Eagles again. Oh, and then you go at the Commanders, at the Vikings, Colts, and then at the Eagles to end the season.
I look, I know this sounds insane. I won't be shocked if the Giants make the playoffs. Based off how bad the 7th spot in the NFC is going to be, It won't shock me in the least.
Yeah. There's a big drop-off there. If not for the Eagles, they'd have a chance to win the division.
I don't disagree with him.
Yeah. But the Eagles do exist. And you won't be
they
hearing
are
their
way
name.
better.
Yeah, you won't be hearing their name called for quite a while here in the Week 6 power rankings.
How about a name you will hear called? It's our number 14 team.
The LA Rams.
Yikes. And I couldn't put them anywhere else. I mean, look, I wanted to put the Cowboys here, but the Cowboys smoked you in your own building.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't put the Cowboys here. And I honestly think that this team, as is currently constituted, would not beat anybody that's in front of them. Now, do they have an upside? Absolutely. If you had Odell Beckham Jr., right now you have a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just bullshit. It's Cooper Kupp and nothing.
But you do have Allen Robinson on the team.
Who's awful. He's been awful.
He's been awful.
Cam Akers has been awful.
It's not that there's just no chemistry between him and Matt Stafford. It is Allen Robinson is god-awful.
He has been god-awful in this offense.
Okay.
There are times you go to a team and you don't fit, and he does not seem to fit.
Okay.
He doesn't. Robert Woods fit, Odell Beckham Jr. fit, Van Jefferson's fit, Allen Robinson doesn't. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what anybody wants me to say.
Mm-hmm.
He's been freaking awful.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Richardson in the YouTube comments, anybody with a good pass rush is going to beat the Rams. I agree.
Yep.
They'll get home, and they'll get home routinely.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the schedule of teams that they play, yes, you get Carolina this week. Then you go 49ers, Bucks, Cardinals, Saints, Chiefs. I won't be shocked if the Rams don't make the playoffs.
Those teams got a lot of those teams have the ability to get after quarterbacks at least some, and it doesn't look like right now the LA Rams can block anybody. So I'm not going to be shocked if they don't make the playoffs either. And if you had that coming into the season, you are a witch.
You think McVay's in his head a little bit?
A little bit. I do.
He's a smart
actually,
guy.
quite a bit.
He's a smart guy, but I think he's doing that Belichickian thing where he's trying to outcoach himself instead of going with what works, and it's showing on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Tao in the YouTube comments said they're not throwing the ball to Allen Robinson. He's got 23 targets for 5 weeks. I mean, how many times are you supposed to throw it to somebody that can't get open,
right?
Can't seem to locate the ball, has no rapport with Matthew Stafford? I mean, Ben Skoranek has been more useful. So, I mean, he has the same number of targets that Darren Waller has. I mean, he hasn't been good either. I get that.
Say.
But, I mean, how many times am I supposed to throw it to a guy that's virtually never open?
Mm-hmm. Which is baffling because he's been successful everywhere he's gone with shitty quarterbacks. Jacksonville, Chicago, he had damn good seasons. And you thought, on paper, it looked really good that he was going to the LA Rams and that they weren't going to skip a beat. But they've skipped several beats.
Would you like to hear a list of players that Allen Robinson has more targets than?
Yes.
Saquon Barkley, Kyle Pitts, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Gabriel Davis. Some of these guys missed games. I'm well aware of that. Hunter Renfrow, Aaron Jones, Chris Godwin. This is not a lack of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lack of good. And, I mean, I'm telling you, I watch the All-22 every week. He does not look good.
Number 13 this week. It's the Minnesota Vikings.
ESPN had them at 4, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Please, NFL or ESPN, tell me what win are you hanging your hat on going, that was an excellent win?
If Cam Dantzler didn't rip one away from Darnell Mooney, there's a possibility you're going to lose to the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
You should have lost to the Lions. Just, okay, calm down on how good this team is, because I'm telling you right now, this is going to sort itself out in a very short order. They play the Dolphins this week. That might be my favorite pick of the week, because the Dolphins, and I don't give a fuck who plays quarterback. I don't care if it's Skylar Thompson. I don't care if it's Teddy Bridgewater. I don't care if it's Tua Tagovailoa. They are going to smoke you.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah. That's one of my favorite shootout games of the week.
And they'll blow them out.
Ask yourself this. Everybody's losing their mind on Minnesota. Their AFC component is the AFC East. What team do you know they're better than?
In the AFC East?
Mm-hmm. They'll get killed by the
Patriots.
Bills. I don't know that they're better than New England. I don't.
Hmm.
I do not know that. I think that. I'm not positive of it. I've seen them play one realistic NFL team other than Green Bay in week 1, who I've now seen get smoked 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They got demolished by the Eagles.
Yep.
I genuinely think if you have Minnesota at 4, and I don't know who does the ESPN Power Rankings, I laughed until I almost pissed on myself when I saw that. Because it's just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine. They're a good team. They're not bad.
Yeah. So Jeremy thinks they get blown out by the Dolphins this week. Then they go Cardinals and Commanders. Chances for wins. And then you get to face the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And I don't like your chances in that one.
Nope.
But we will find out if they're better than the New England Patriots, because that's going to be their, what's that, Thanksgiving?
Yep.
Nice. You looking forward to that, Armchair?
I mean, sure. Look, I'm going to watch my Patriots play this week against the Browns. It is what it is. It's football.
As you
I think
should.
Look, the Vikings are doing Viking things. I had higher hopes for them. They're not far enough along to make me think that they're 4. They haven't done anything close to. If you had asked me without looking at anything, just on record alone, where do I rank them? I don't know, like 12 at best. They're a middle team. They're mid. Cousins will have a game where he looks like an MVP, and then he'll have a game where he looks like Josh Rosen. And I just don't. There's no in between. There's no middle ground with that team at all. At all.
I agree. They've always been that team. In the Mike Zimmer years, they were that team forever. They'll show up one week, they won't show up the next week. They can lose and win a nail biter against the Green Bay Packers, and then end up getting smoked by 2 touchdowns by the Lions or somebody.
Right. It's always that way. It's been that way. I thought with an offensive coach they'd have a better opportunity, but no.
You don't think they're better with O'Connell than they were with Mike Zimmer?
Have they shown it? Or does this feel exactly the same to you? If I like this team, it lacks consistency in every facet of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They're lacking consistency on the offensive side. Justin Jefferson is a bad man. Where's Adam Thielen been? What's going on with Dalvin Cook? They should be eviscerating teams, and they're just not. I don't know if that's scheme. I don't know if that's talent. I don't know what it is, but they're not there. They should be. An offensive-minded coach should have them putting up 40 points a game, and they're not.
No.
Not with that talent, they should, at least.
We got a couple of fantasy questions in the comments. Nick Forsett asked, should I trade Jerry Jeudy and Tyler Higbee for Keenan Allen, Dalton Schultz? I have Hurst on my bench. My answer is an aggressive yes.
Yeah.
My answer is an aggressive yes. I would do that when not think about it. I actually think you get the 2 better players than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Jameson Ellison asked top 3 to 5 waiver wire tight end options. Comment your questions is floating around our head, so we kind of have to as they come in. Armchair, do you have a good answer to that? Because I have an answer, but it's not a great one.
Is Cole Kmet available?
If Taysom Hill's available, that's obviously the answer.
But why?
Taysom Hill's got to be available somewhere.
And he's got to be a tight end.
Yeah.
Verify
on Sleeper he is. Look, if I go tight end is so it's Barrett. Ty Conklin's not going to be available. Cade Otton.
Cade Otton was one of the ones I was going to ask. I think he's better than Cameron Brate. So.
Juwan Johnson, I guess.
He burned my ass last week.
Yes, he did. Are we at a point now where Daniel Bellinger's a pickup?
Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bellinger is worth a pickup.
You could do worse.
There's going to be somebody that's going to be used in that offense, and they've already. He scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. He caught one 2 weeks ago, and then this past weekend he had the opportunity to pass one in. They were running the tight end pass, and he just tucked it and ran it in.
Yeah, he's fine. I think he's tight end 25 for me this week or some dumb shit like that.
Sleeper has him at tight end 19.
Greg, the one that I wanted to mention was Greg Dulcich. He's been designated to return, and we all know how Russell Wilson feels about tight ends. And I loved him coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually see him being used more as a receiver than as an inline tight end, because that's what he is.
Okay. Colin Greene wants to know, should he play Taysom Hill?
Yes.
Definitely.
And Gage asked, should I trade Tyler Lockett for, I'm going to assume that's Kenny Walker? Yes.
Kenny Walker season, baby.
I'm in a big league where I have a bajillion running backs, and Kenny Walker is my last one.
Kenny Walker was my first pick in Dynasty rookie draft this year.
I'm in a league that you got a half point per carry, where I have Joe Mixon, Breece Hall, Damian Pierce, Raheem Mostert, Kenny Walker, Cam Akers. I'm forgetting one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who the other one is. Miles Sanders. Yeah, that's
pretty good.
That team feels like it's in pretty good shape.
It's pretty good. You better parlay that into some wide receivers here pretty soon.
I have Christian Kirk and Curtis Samuel. I think I'm fine.
You need more than 2, don't you?
There's only 2 spots. Where else am I supposed to play them?
Okay.
I'll trot some half-ass receiver out there in the weeks they're on buys. Those two are top 20 receivers in the NFL fantasy-wise, especially in that system.
Speaking of top 12, let's go number 12 in the Week 6 power rankings. It's the Miami Dolphins.
Look, I'm a realistic Jets fan. I know if Tua had played, we probably don't beat them 40-17. But he didn't, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have issues with the Miami defense. Look, there's long been this narrative that Miami was sweltering defensively and Jalen Phillips, and they're not good. Now, fully healthy, a little different story.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that all year long. And I can tell you right now, as somebody that watched every snap of their last game, the Jets were tipping off what they were doing. Miami still couldn't stop it. That makes me nervous. But Tua coming back will obviously have a drastic improvement from Skylar Thompson.
Well, I feel like people believe that they're good on defense because they have the names, because they paid up so much for the secondary.
No, people believe they're good on defense because in the last 8 weeks of last year, they played the Baltimore Ravens, Mars Hill, a culinary school, a group of Boy Scouts, and, oh, look, the defense is good. No, you just played dog shit. They're going to have to win in shootouts. That's how this is going to go, especially if Xavier Howard is not the shutdown corner that you expected him to be, which so far he has not been.
They can force turnovers when they're fully healthy, but are they good at limiting the other offense?
Not really.
Not really. They're very
bend and get broken defense.
Yeah, they're very Trayvon Diggsy in that respect.
Causing turnovers is good if you also can stop the opponent. Just causing turnovers is a stat that we love to look at because usually if you're winning the turnover game, you can win the actual game. But just because you're causing a turnover, if you have nothing on offense going for you, so for example, missing Tyreek and Tua, and all of a sudden you're left with Raheem Mostert, and look what happens. Sure, you can cause as many turnovers as you want, but if you're not moving the ball and you're not scoring points, it's not going to help you.
And like I said, I still think this is a good team. I'm curious to see what this team looks like fully healthy. And Raheem Mostert is the running back you want. Yeah. Chase Edmonds is now completely irrelevant.
And points for Gage Camplin, Javon Holland, he a dog.
He is a dog.
Yeah.
He a dog.
100%. Number 11, Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans.
Is it ugly? Yeah, it is. It's ugly. It's not fun to watch. I should have stuck to my guns. You lost a game against the Giants that you shouldn't have. You didn't look particularly good those first 2 weeks of the season. And then, lo and behold, what happened? You won 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really – and I feel like I've been the kiss of death because whoever I've said this about the last 3 weeks in the AFC South has shit their pants the next week. I don't see a way that Tennessee doesn't win this division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You're the best team. You have the most range of outcomes. And they're not healthy either. You've won 3 games, and you're killed.
All right, so mark that down, ladies and gentlemen. Look for the Indianapolis Colts to win big this week over the Tennessee Titans, and then we can say that about them next week.
I don't like this team, but they're winning. So,
or excuse me,
they remembered they have Derrick Henry.
It's next week.
I was about to say, you got something fucked up there.
The Titans are on bye. The Titans are on bye, and then they play the Indianapolis Colts. So next week, look for the Indianapolis Colts to win.
I'm going to disagree.
100%, but we got to keep the narrative going.
That I'm the kiss. That I'm the Tank Spencer of KOD.
Exactly. You can do a lot if you can run the ball. The New York Giants have proved it. Tennessee Titans proved it last year. And we thought with the injuries and Harold Landry going down that defense was going to take a major step back. I don't feel like they have.
Yeah.
Number 10, Go ahead.
The stupid Dallas Cowboys.
Top 10 in the league, the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush, the legend continues. He is now 5-0 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And the Cowboys, they defense really well.
No,
they get pressure
they Micah
really well.
Parsons really well. You can roll your eyes at me all you want to. Name me another player on that defense that you really like.
Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence doesn't
DeMarcus
play
Lawrence.
for. You mean the washed pass rusher that can only get pressure when he's left single high with Micah Parsons being doubled? Yeah, you're seeing that a completely different way than me. Here's everything you need to know. Cowboys at the Eagles this week.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas loves tempting Dallas fans into doing dumb shit. Eagles are a 5-point favorite. Money's going to be heavy on the Cowboys, and they are going to get just demolished by the Eagles, and I can't wait for it. I hope they beat them 45-2. Just so I can come in here and go, I told you.
I tried to tell you.
I tried to tell you that you are overrating the shit out of this team. They don't do anything particularly well. Tony Pollard, he's really good. Yeah, and they trust him for about 8 touches a week.
Are we taking bets on who's going to Brock Osweiler, Cooper Rush this year?
Oh God,
Like what team is going to pay way too much money for Cooper Rush because he went 5-1 as a starter?
It'll be the Dallas Cowboys.
It's not going to be the Cowboys. I think Jerry will let him walk. He's paying too much money for Dak. Someone's going to pay him too much money. I guarantee. I will.
And I won't be shocked if it's a team with a rookie quarterback.
It will,
especially if Kellen Moore gets a job.
Someone is going to overpay Cooper Rush, having him come in to run their system.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, Gage Camplin, if the Cowboys somehow win the NFC East, Micah's the MVP. I'll make a sweeping declaration. If the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East, I'll go to one of these fucking snuggle parties in January. With a big T-shirt that says free hugs for everybody.
Nice. It's not going to happen.
This division.
And straight up, I would take a bath in broken glass while setting myself on fire before I would do that. Dallas is not good. Lisa said, Jeremy, if the Cowboys somehow beat the Eagles, don't open your inbox for a week. Well, if the Cowboys somehow beat the Eagles, I feel like we all need to be mourning as a nation that the Eagles have dis-a-fucking-peared, because that's the only way that's going to happen, is if their plane somehow disappears into the Bermuda Triangle.
Who kidnapped Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts was abducted and is being held ransom. And they got Gardner Minshew, too.
Patrick Holt says market snuggles in January. It's on.
Jalen Hurts is being held hostage on Jerry's yacht until after the bye week.
But Lisa's 100% right. If the Cowboys win this game, I'm deleting Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Of which, right now, my stance with Twitter right now is about the same as my stance with drinking. Like, oh, we get one like, and I'll just drink 14 domestic lights tonight. Oh, and I ever like it myself. Done.
Number 9, Week 6 power rankings. Fire the cannons. It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Let's fire your cuddle cannon. Your team is this is the dynamic in the NFL right now, where there is such a clear hierarchy of the best teams. And then just drop off a cliff to the next set, and then another drop off a cliff to the worst.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, you're the Bucs fan, so have at it. You know what I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're going to say. Your defense is not that good.
Nope.
And your quarterback's 48 years old.
45.
And your
I
weapons
finally
are
figured out
always
he wasn't
hurt.
46.
And I get it. Todd Bowles is maddening. He's not a good coach. But when you have Tom Brady, you always get a chance to win games. It's where I've been with this team since he came in.
I get it.
And with those weapons, that offense is going to work. Is the defense complete shutdown best in the league? Hell no. But they do that thing where you bend, don't break. You can get some turnovers here and there to make things real interesting. And more times than often, Tommy's not going to let you down.
What offense are you looking at that's good?
I can't figure it out. Second time he said that in 2 days.
You're saying the offense is no 19 points, 20 points, 14 points, and you had to come all the way back from behind for 31 points. Like you almost lost to Atlanta. You put up 21 points.
And if it wasn't for one of the worst calls I've ever seen, I think you would have lost.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey Zapp-led Patriots outscored you. Just let that sink in for a minute. This offense isn't good, and the defense is bend and mostly break. And if you didn't have Leonard Fournette, it wouldn't be a good team. And I don't know how they're 9. It's the ugliest 3-2 team in the league.
What he said.
Yeah,
I agree with everything he just said.
I disagree.
I'm going to say the same thing. I'm going to say the same thing that I said to
the fact that they haven't done it yet is the problem.
I'm going to say the same thing to you that I said to loudmouth dumbasses a few years ago because they don't understand how political voting works. Explain to me why you're voting for Joe Biden without saying Donald Trump's name. All right, same premise. Explain to me how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are good without ever mentioning Tom Brady.
You can't do it.
You can't do it because you've got one guy. I need you to understand, if Tom Brady somehow, if he broken heart disorder and he decides to go out and have a Viking funeral in the middle of the ocean, you're 3-14 instantaneously. You don't do anything well but Tom. And Armchair even gave you Leonard. You don't Leonard well, but about half the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Colin Cowherd theory of any dumb shit could take over Apple. For a year, you'll have no clue. Then that second year comes along, and all of the things he has done starts to take roots. You ain't going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
The further away from Brucey you get, you ain't going to get better. The more that Todd Bowles wraps his arm around this team, I've watched this. I watched this happen. The team that Todd Bowles took over was nowhere near as good as but it got to that point. And as the season progressed, what happened? Everything got worse. The defense got worse. The scheme got worse. The offense got more maddening. And it's because that's what Todd Bowles does, because he's not a good coach.
Tom Brady threw 52 times for 351 yards last week, and you scored 21 points.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not like the most empty yardage I've ever, one touchdown.
Yep.
One. And like, it's bad, Tank. It's not good.
It's not.
I get where you are, because as a Patriot fan, in the last years of Brady, when the Patriots had quite literally nobody, at wide receiver, much like we do now, we had the same kind of mentality. Don't worry, Tom will do it. And You know what happened? Pick 6 in the end of the end zone for his last play as a Patriot. Bye. You're on that path right now. You're on the path right now. I hope you understand that.
Oh, I do. I understand that.
Chris, all right, there's a lot of things to clean up in the comments here. First of all, Gage Camplin super chatted, Jerome Boger needs to ref the cuddle party. I love everything you just said. That is fucking hilarious. One Nation Underground said, no mean tweets. Good for you, because I know exactly what you said that too. And then Chris D asked, do we really think they aren't going to improve? No, I don't think they're going to improve. Because this is what Tank can verify this, because we've been doing this together for a long time. I was on the Seattle thing 2 years before I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, I see the storm coming. It's just a question of when is the storm going to start carrying shit out into the ocean? Well, I missed it by a year because they made the playoffs the first year I said, and they got smoked by the Rams, I think.
I think so.
The next year, they couldn't play dead in a Western. The third year, they were friggin' awful. I was early. I've been saying this about Tom now for 2 solid years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to hinge your bets on a guy that's 2 presidential terms older than every player in the NFL, it'll be fine until it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's not, you're going to see him writhing on the ground, holding his knee or his hip or his fucking medical alert bracelet or whatever it is. And then what do? What do you hang your hat on? Nothing. You need Tom Brady to be superhuman in a league that is not what it was in 2008 when he was that guy. There was no Pat Mahomes. There was no Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford was just a pup. The Jalen Hurtses and Lamar Jacksons of the world were playing running back. You're in a completely different league now. That's just the way it is. The days of Tom Brady who sits back here and throws 60 fucking times and would you win games? Absolutely. What's going to happen when you play Philadelphia? They do everything that you can't defend. Every single iota of it.
Mm-hmm.
They would dog walk you. And I feel that way about the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and a slew of others. I feel good.
Do you feel better now?
I do.
Tampa AARP.
I do, because I'm literally watching Tampa Bay going, this is the Seattle thing all over again. I was a year early, and now I'm seeing it. Because now you've got – people are undervaluing broken-hearted Tommy. Everybody's and Tristan in the comments, I think it was Tristan, said Tom traded one ring to go get another one. You're right. You're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the problem with it. I don't know if you've ever had marital troubles. I know that, Tank has not had them to the level that I did. When you go down that rabbit hole, it consumes everything in your life. It is a never-ending tempest of bullshit, especially when they're burning sage to get rid of your presence in the house. She's going to be screwing with him at every impasse, and nobody seems to be acknowledging that. I understand that's a three-dimensional chess. This is coming from a guy that's been divorced twice. I know, and they were not amicable at all. You undervalue every bit of that. And I'm going to sit back and laugh at it, personally.
That's sad. It takes so much joy in Tom Brady's pain.
I could give a damn less about his pain. I'm a sports analyst. I'm talking about the pain of his team. I can see it in his face. I've lived it.
Oh, yeah.
I have literally lived what he is going through. I know it, and I know what effect it had on me.
This guy, too. Tank's the only one with marital bliss here. Come on now.
I have marital bliss now because I have a very understanding wife. That's just awesome.
Same, but I've been through what you're talking about.
She's also bringing me a lovely dinner because she loves me that much.
At number 8, Week 6 power rankings, the Green Bay Packers.
Tank got tired of us talking shit about his team.
That's fine. It's fine.
He wanted to,
what else can you say?
Loss.
We get it. You guys think
loss,
they
Tank.
suck and they'll never get better. Okay. Move on.
He wanted us to move on because he sees that his selling his soul to the devil got him one Super Bowl.
And I'll fucking do it 800 times again. And you would too. Don't tell me you wouldn't.
I couldn't have done Tom Brady.
Bullshit.
I've been asked that question 1,000 times.
Bullshit.
Have you ever had somebody ruin your life for 20 fucking years?
Oh, my wife's working on it.
So much for that marital bliss thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. You're one of those people that has 2 college teams, so you don't know anything about that. You remember how bad you hated Drew Brees at a time?
Yeah.
Just loathed him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, multiply that by 4 times. That's how long Brady did this to me. With 3 different sets of Jet teams that were good, and we couldn't get by them. I could never have done it with Brady. You call me a liar all you want to.
Tank, imagine you had to spend $800 on a dinner and you only got a single McNugget. That's the kind of pain we're talking about.
And you get up every year, and you think it's going to be – it's just like Bill. Bill Belichick could take over as coach of the Jets. I cannot do it. I'm not saying I won't sit here and root for it. I'm not going to tell you that. I couldn't enjoy it. I could not enjoy it. If the Jets won a Super Bowl, and the first one that I got to see, probably the only one I get to see based on the way I'm aging and how old I am.
Right.
And it was Tom friggin' Brady, oh, my God. That would have been – I would have just sat there numb. Like, I don't even know how to feel right now. I have so many analogies that I shouldn't say because they're horribly offensive. So we'll just move on.
Yeah.
Green Bay's in trouble.
Green Bay's absolutely in trouble.
I don't know how much trouble, but they're in trouble. And not just because they lost to the Giants in London, but they're in trouble.
Why? What is the trouble? All right, let me rephrase that. What is the trouble they are in?
Oh, they can't stop the run. The teams that they've had trouble with have run the ball effectively against them. New England ran well against them. New York ran well against them. Teams that run the ball well will give them trouble. And Aaron will figure out the receiver thing. Romeo Doubs is a dog. Watson will figure it out, and he's going to Aaron Rodgers. He's still a top tier quarterback, but they need to figure out how to stop that run.
All right, now I would agree with everything you said, except that I've looked at the schedule. There's no way this team doesn't go 11-6. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Aaron Rodgers is upright, they're going to go 11-6. They're going to win this division. It's the way it is. Now, do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? No, I don't.
No,
I don't, because you don't have the guy that wins. The thing that their biggest problem to me is LaFleur. That's the biggest problem. You have run the ball incredibly well. Aaron Jones, in terms of yards per carry among qualifying ball carriers, he's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just doesn't happen enough. You're trying to do – I'm going to draw a parallel here. I feel like Green Bay is the living embodiment of what I'm talking about with your team. They Aaron Rodgers well.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do other things well. And when that goes off the rails because Aaron doesn't trust the receivers, which I'm witnessing on literally a weekly basis, he's overthinking everything he's doing. When that comes off the rails, you have to be able to audible to something else. They don't. And it's not, with them, it's not they can't. With Tampa, they can't.
Right, we can't.
You cannot audible to anything else. Green Bay can't. They refuse to.
Mm-hmm.
It's
because you don't take the bullets out of your gun. If you told me the
Green Bay Packers led the NFL in carries, I think that gives them the best chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good defensive team that grinds people out, keeps the defense on the sidelines, and then when they come in, they're deep, they're rested, they can throw exotic things at you, get off the field. The problem is that I know definitively they're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to keep seeing Aaron Rodgers do what he did against the Giants.
Is this a case of, I asked you earlier if McVay was in his head a little bit, is this a case where Aaron Rodgers is in his head, maybe reading too much of his own headlines and not doing what he needs to win?
You're shaking your head, so you answer it, and then I have a philosophy on that.
I don't think so. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the problem. The problem is they don't have the talent grown yet in the wide receiver core. I'll agree with you. Romeo Doubs, obviously, he's good. He's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Watson, probably going to be fine as well. There's just no chemistry. There's no trust there between Aaron and his receivers.
I'm your huckleberry.
And the one thing you don't do is you don't show up to a gunfight and take your bullets out of the gun. And I think that's how Matt LaFleur is looking at it. We run the ball really well, and we'll run the ball. But we got to give Aaron his chances. We got to give Aaron the opportunity to get the chemistry going, to find that guy. You don't send Aaron Judge up to the plate and have him bunt. And that's what it would be if you went, full-on run game with the Green Bay Packers.
And you tied this in perfectly well for me to completely and vehemently disagree with you. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do that.
Mm-hmm.
If he's in the middle of a gross slump, what do you want him to do? Come up here and strike out? Because that's where you're at. I do think Aaron's in his head, but I think Aaron's in his head for a completely different reason. Everybody's lost on this. Well, there's no talent in the receiver room. There hasn't been talent in the receiver room, minus Devontae Adams. There never has been. His entire you go back to Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, he's had one. He had a couple years with Jennings and Jordy Nelson. Other than that, he's had one guy forever. Randall Cobb is a slot guy that was a Swiss Army piece, which is what Christian Watson is now, and loosely what older Randall Cobb is.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost all faith in LaFleur, and it's super obvious. It is super obvious that he does not trust LaFleur in the least. He knows where this is. I think if you put a gun to Aaron Rodgers' head and said, you could do anything in the world right now, what would it be? It would be, I want to go to Denver and hang out with Nathaniel Hackett and those weapons and a guy that I actually believe in, because I don't believe in LaFleur in the least. And I don't know that that's solvable. I don't know that that's solvable. And I'll go one step further. I don't think he's a very good coach. He never beats teams that are better than him, ever.
Mm-hmm.
In the handful of years he's been their coach, I think he has 3 wins against teams that were over 500.
Beat up on the NFC North all the time.
He beats the smoke off the Bears, the Lions. That's what he does.
The old Patriots on the AFC East. When everybody else was dog water, you got a free walk to your bye, and then you go through it. I just feel like when I watch Aaron, he comes to the line, he runs the play as constituted, and if he doesn't see a guy open with 30 feet dropping a ball, he's not throwing it to him. And I know you got to build trust. I know that they're working on those things, but if he sees that they're in like a deep zone and he's got A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones back there, he needs to be able to audible out and know that running the ball is okay. And I feel like he doesn't want to do that right now because he's got to prove everybody wrong that he can do this with anybody. He doesn't need Devontae Adams. It's that Bill Brady, who's better, who can do it without him kind of feel. I'm looking at Aaron and I go, Aaron is trying to out Aaron himself to prove everybody that he is excellent and he doesn't need to. They have an easy path to win that division, and they just need to take it. Don't stop driving on the shoulder.
Number 7 in this week's power rankings, Los Angeles Chargers.
I wish they had any other coach. I do. I wish they had any other coach.
They could have Todd
In
Bowles.
spite of Staley.
We'll give him Todd Bowles. He ain't gonna have him.
This team's really talented, and and maybe I'm just letting this die way too hard. But I believe in the talent so damn much.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't looked particularly impressive, but now I've seen you win 2 games in 2 weeks that I'm not actually sure that you had any business winning. The Texans, you let the Texans get all the way back into this.
Mm-hmm.
And in all reality, here's what I did. With the Chargers, I used to do this around week 8.
I'm your huckleberry.
Drop your best win, drop your worst loss. Where do they fall? And if you do that, this is about where the Chargers fall in. If you take away that Jacksonville weird-ass albatross, this is a team that started with 3 of their first 5 games on the road, having to take on one of the best teams in the AFC and the Chiefs, and a handful of playoff contenders. And you came out of it 3-2. Then I look down the schedule and go, you got 3 layup wins in a row. Chargers are going to be 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
And we 6-2 going to the 49ers. And then I think you'll really see who they are. And hopefully Brandon Staley gets smarter by the day, because he's probably going to need to.
And you better not trip up. You better not trip up, because it's going to get super loud. If they somehow drop one of these games, I'm looking at that Seattle game, just going, there's a chance Brandon Staley gets out coached. And and Seattle may be able to keep it close enough because they can run the ball, and that's how you can hurt the Chargers. Kenneth Walker has a big day. It's real close at the end, and then Brandon Staley does something stupid.
Yeah, here's the thing. At some point, and maybe I'm being, like I said, maybe my preseason thought on the Chargers is dying too hard. At some point, somebody in that building has to say, hey, you know how we stopped getting gashed by the run? Stop being behind. Stop letting teams that have no business staying close to us stay close to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the best way to improve your run defense is? Score. Then all of a sudden it's not a problem.
Right.
And with Keenan Allen, I don't think this team will struggle to score. And when they don't, and when that's not a thing anymore, I think you'll see what this team really is.
I tend to agree. We got a super chat from Kyle Grove. He's got a fantasy football question, full PPR. Which running back would you trade George Pickens for? Raheem Mostert or Travis Etienne? He says he has the choice. It was wide receivers or Chase, Diggs,
Jesus
Devontae
Christ.
Adams, and Michael Pittman.
That has to be a keeper of some kind.
Yeah, you have every good wide receiver.
Which one would I trade Pickens for?
I'm on Mostert here.
I would be if it's a 1-year decision. I'm on ETN if it's a keeper decision.
Yeah.
ETN's going to get the workload in Jacksonville. I think last week showed that, and he is very electric. And I think that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
People are losing their shit on George Pickens, and I'm not 100% sure why.
I mean, it's the catches.
No,
you
and
see
that's
those
fine.
stylish catches,
And that's fine.
everybody loses their mind.
And he's a good player. I'm not disputing that. He's a good player in an offense with a lot of weapons, a bad offensive line, and a rookie quarterback. So I'm not sure why everybody's clamoring. See, because to me, if somebody offered me George Pickens for Mostert or Travis Etienne, I would literally call you to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I would take either one if I'm being really honest with you. If I had to choose one, I will agree that it's Mostert. I think Miami's going to lean more on the run as time goes on. But Etienne's a close second. I bet if whoever that is fires back with, you can't have Mostert, but I'll give you Travis Etienne. Done. That's fine. It's 6.5 one way, 6 the other way.
Okay.
So I'm good with both. And by the way, you're good at drafting because your receivers are insane. That'd be the only time I ever tell somebody, yeah, play a wide receiver in your flex. It's fine. Just
All right, we are into the top 6 of the Week 6 NFL Power Rankings. Cincinnati Bengals.
I still believe in this team.
As you should.
I still believe in this team. After much thought after this week's slate of games, Baltimore needed that win more than Cincinnati did. They did. They needed it more than Cincinnati did. Say it again, Armchair.
Badly. Baltimore needed that badly.
To stem some of the bleeding.
Yeah.
Of the media narrative and things like that. I still believe in Joe Burrow. I just do. And I watch this team on tape, and so many of these things should be working, and they're not, and I just feel like it's going to. Call it a blind faith, but here's my question. Who the hell am I supposed to have in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
This is where that chasm is to me. Because to me, it's the top 3, big-ass drop-off, 4 and 5, another big-ass drop-off, and then there's a lump of about 11 teams that you could be Super Bowl contenders or you could be 7 and 10,
mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't shock me in the least. And the Bengals are the one I have the most faith in, which is how they wound up here.
Yep.
I think you're going to see a different offensive scheme coming from them. And I don't know what it looks like. And that's not to say they don't put up the same points. I think that Burrow and Taylor are starting to see now that teams are just going to take away the deep shot. And if they're going to give them the underneath, they have to take the underneath. They've said as much. They're a smart team, despite what Zach Taylor does. I think that they're a smart team, and I think that they can get this ship righted. I don't think it's horribly wrong right now. I don't think this is panic like the Rams should be. I think that they'll be fine.
Looking at the next 5 weeks, I fully believe this team's going to be 7-3. At the Saints, Falcons, at the Browns, Panthers, at the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 of those could be absolute destructions.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to get they need to cut the routes. Cut the routes, let Joe Burrow get the ball out of his hand quicker. Because his offensive line's still not good. And he's going to end up on his back over and over and over again. Jonah Williams got hurt. And is that going to be a long-term thing?
I don't care if it is or not. I'll be honest, I don't care.
I mean, he's better than Hakeem Adeniji.
And I don't disagree with that, but it's not as big of a drop-off as you think. It's just not. Jonah Williams has been the weak link of this offensive line for years.
Mm-hmm.
I have said this so many times, I am blue in the face from saying it. And so, I'm looking at the roster now because I don't think Adeniji's actually the backup. I think Adeniji's the backup on the right side. I know there are at least 3 Bengals fans that watch this show. I think the way that would go is Lyle Collins would move to the left side and Dante Smith would move to the right. I think. We get a list, or I shouldn't say we, I get a list from beat writers of if X happened, this is the way it would go.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something with Volson, because Volson actually started that might have been what it was. Volson would slide out to the left side and Dante Smith would play guard. that might have been if it was a long-term injury plan.
Right.
I know it was not Adeniji off the top of my head.
Well, it was Adeniji that came into the game after Jonah Williams got hurt. I get what you're saying.
Game. When you have a week to script it, that's not how that will go.
I get what you're saying. But that offensive line is still a problem, and you need to figure out how to dink and dunk more.
And the thing about the line being a problem is it's getting better. As time is going on, Ted Karras has played better. Alex Kappa has played better. Lyle Collins is the one that still grades poorly. I can't really explain that. The left side, I get. All falls on Jonah Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, okay, he's out. How much worse is it going to be? I'm argue that I don't think it'd be worse at all.
So with the loss, Cincinnati dropped from 5 to 6 in the power rankings week to week, and the Baltimore Ravens vaulted ahead from 7 to 5 this week.
I needed to see Baltimore win a game like that, where it wasn't a Lamar wins a track meet. Can you win a game like this? Now, I will say I hate that Marcus Williams is down. It doesn't look like it's a season ender from what I saw, but that makes me really nervous. He was the ball hawk. He was the one that made, when it did work, he's the one that made it work. Now, when I watched the All-22, they played way more zone. That team's way better in zone. You can line up man on man. The way the league is right now, if that is your plan, you are going to get burned more often than not. I don't give a damn how good your corners are.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, the way the NFL is officiated now, I can throw a 40-yard route. And if I underthrow it by 10 yards and the receiver works back to you, it doesn't matter that he ran through the corner. It's still pass interference. Playing in zone, you don't have that problem as often. I don't really understand playing consistent man at this point. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You're opening yourself up to just get demolished.
All right, at number 4, San Francisco 49ers.
That defense is terrifying.
They're unbelievable.
That defense is terrifying.
Giving up just over 12 points a game. And, I mean, they don't really take the ball away at a high clip or anything. They just stuff you. They just stuff. Right. They just stuff you. And see what your offense and see how much the offense can do on the other side.
The thing that I look at with the thing that I look at with San Francisco is I haven't seen a defense that does Rex Ryan used to have a term for this, organized chaos, where I just send people at you constantly, and you can never get a good beat on where I'm coming from, and it doesn't really matter who's on the field because I've got smart guys. It's where Jimmy Leonard came from. He just gets everybody in the right position, disguises the coverage, and you never know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I see in San Francisco. Offensively, well, Jimmy Garoppolo's he's not an elite quarterback. He doesn't have to be. He has to get the ball to the playmakers. Don't turn the damn ball over and let the defense do what it does. Oh, weird. Scored another defensive touchdown this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're going to see it a lot. Are you as high on San Francisco as I am, Armchair?
I am. You don't need takeaways when you're going 3 and out. It's as good as a takeaway.
Yep.
If you're stopping the team, it's as good as a takeaway. And that, look, Jimmy G will give you exactly what you need, which is consistent play. He's not going to do anything super flashy, but he's not going to kill you. You don't need him to. That's all you need. Just don't kill us. Keep the ball on the field. Get close enough to field goal range. Occasionally get it to Debo so he can get it in the end zone, and the defense will do the rest. That defense is scary good.
Before we get into the top 3, Chris D asked, would you drop Henderson to move Robinson out of IR? I don't know what Robinson's on IR. Not Allen Robinson's, not James Robinson.
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh. No. No.
And drop Elijah Moore to pick up Taysom Hill?
No.
Mm-mm.
Also no.
No. I mean, I'm okay with picking up Taysom. Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson, okay.
So he came off IR last week. That's the reason I was confused.
Gotcha.
No. Oh, God, that one's close. Hey, I'm going to have to look at my rest of your rankings. I know
Brian Robinson might be a pickup. The other one is not, though.
Yeah, everybody's going to lose their mind on Taysom Hill, and I don't see it.
No. Keep Elijah Moore. He's fine. You might want to pick up Brian Robinson.
Well, he's got Robinson on the IR. That's what he's saying.
So drop Henderson.
That's fine. Should he drop Darrell Henderson?
I think it's okay. Is Darrell Henderson going to get any real play?
That one's going to be maddening all year long. I would probably try to trade Darrell Henderson to whoever has Cam Akers because they took him so high that they can't just outright drop him.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I'm battling with that in a lot of places. So I might try to get something, Henderson and another player for something usable. This is where I start trying to make trades. Well, that league I was referencing earlier where I have 7 running backs. I've told every team in the league, bring your best shit, and it better be good, or I will ignore you like grim death. He's a tight end in that league.
At number 3,
the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep. And I'm just not I'm not ready to put them above the top 2.
They don't deserve to be above the top 2.
Right. In a world that didn't have the Buffalo Bills out here doing crazy shit and the Philadelphia Eagles just pounding the ball down their opponents' throats and playing hella good defense. Hella good. Kansas City would be right at the top. You got the offense. Your defense continues to be average.
Yeah, you remember that take you had yesterday? The Raiders wouldn't be able to run the ball.
Yeah, that was wrong.
Yeah, it didn't age well.
That was wrong.
That defense is not good. The Kansas City defense, Chris Jones is very well.
Mm-hmm.
They Frank Clark all right from time to time, and Nick Bolton is very good. The corners on the outside, they force you to throw so often that they hold up. The problem is that when you can hold up against Jones and Clark, now it's a 7th-round rookie and just a slew. I mean, L'Jarius Sneed's good, but there's not a lot else to really like there. I mean, Devontae Adams could have had 200-some-odd yards yesterday. He didn't, but he could have. So, to me, there's just Kansas City is still an elite team. They're still one of the top 3 teams in the league. There is a drop-off, in my opinion, from 1 and 2 to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not as cavernous as the drop to 4 and 5, but I think Kansas City's kind of they're the meat of the sandwich.
Well, because it's
a ciabatta bread roll. Right. You got real thick bread and less meat.
Well, I mean, there are very few well-rounded teams anymore. Very few teams in the NFL can bring you a great offense and a great defense.
It's almost impossible to do in the NFL unless you just draft ridiculously well.
Well, I mean, there's 2 teams that we haven't mentioned yet that bring you that. But they're the only ones. You look at everybody else and you go, okay, San Francisco could bring the defense, but what about the offense? You thought Baltimore was the well-rounded team, but the defense has sucked. Maybe they're figuring stuff out. Fine. And that's where you're at with Kansas City. Kansas City's got the offense. They don't have the defense. And they've been that way, and they've been, going to the AFC Championship game and going to the Super Bowls.
If you don't put your foot on Kansas City's throat, they will burn you.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
That's it. That's the story. That's the game plan with Kansas City. If you don't kill them, if you don't put them out of their misery, forget it, because they will find a way to come back. Offensively, they're gifted, and they can do it. Whatever Magic Man wants to do back there, he finds a way to do it. He doesn't always succeed, but he's very good at finding weird ways of running. Like They just have it. They have that figured out. If you can get up big and you can stop them, then you're fine. But you better not miss, because if you do, they will come back and they will own you, and you'll lose by 1 point or 3 points or 2 points, and you will lose, and it will feel like you probably should have won. That's what Kansas City does really well.
Yep. No doubt game of the week this week is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills.
And how do we not get that in a primetime spot? Who that's making these schedules went, no. We don't want to do that.
Where's my flex games? Why can't we flex?
Oh, it's stupid that we don't.
Awful.
Are you worried about a particular the running backs with Kansas City?
Do they have running backs that are in? I don't like anything that Kansas City has on running back.
The snap counts are infuriating. Do you know what the snap counts broke down to be last night?
No, but watching it, I can only imagine it was.
McKinnon was the highest snap getter at 38. Edwards-Helaire got 31. Pacheco got 2.
Pacheco's the most gifted of those backs.
No doubt. He's played 45 snaps the entire year. 33 of them were in 2 of their 5 games.
I don't get that. I don't get it at all. McKinnon.
Now, they were both
really?
blowouts. That's how this appears to go. If they have to throw, you go McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If you think they're going to blow somebody out, then it's Pacheco.
Andy Reid knows what he's doing.
It's infuriating.
He's the secret weapon. They just don't want. I mean, who were the comparisons he made? What was it?
LaShawn McCoy and Jamal Charles.
Yeah. See, he's the secret weapon. He's playing it coy with Isaiah Pacheco to start
Except for the
season.
fact he keeps doing it in games that they blow teams out. Because he did it against you and he did it against the Cardinals in week 1.
Yeah. I don't know.
I trust Andy Reid to find me good barbecue.
Absolutely. If you want an off-the-menu Waffle House item, Andy Reid is your road dog.
All right, number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. This is a well-rounded team, and they should smoke most everybody that they play.
And the schedule is just absolutely pathetic. I cannot wait for them to just kick the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait. And they're going to.
Oh, there's little doubt. Little doubt that this will be a lopsided affair. And then you go Steelers, Texans, Commanders, Colts.
Week 12, that's their next big challenge.
Even now the Packers don't look like a daunting task. Tennessee Titans, New York Giants, Chicago Bears.
It's a one-loss team.
Good Lord.
And it's probably going to be a game that you don't expect.
Right. They'll beat everybody on their schedule and then end up losing to the fucking Bears.
Yeah. They are 2nd in total yards, 7th in passing, 4th in rushing, 5th in points. Their third down percentage is ridiculous, 43.8. Mm-hmm. How do you not like this? And then on the defensive side, yards allowed 4th, passing yards allowed 5th, rushing yards allowed 10th. That's their worst position. Points allowed 7th. Mm-hmm. This is a well-rounded both side team.
The conversations living room with RJ said the Eagles should be number 1 until someone beats them. There's only one problem with that. I've had the Bills won all offseason and all season, and I've yet to see anything changing my mind there. 2, the Eagles have beaten exactly 0 teams that are in the top 10 of these here proceedings. And if you look a little deeper, they've only beaten 1 team that's on the left side of the screen. Mm-hmm. And it was one that I specifically said I'm not all that high on. I want to see you just demolish the Cowboys, which I, again, believe that's going to happen.
Yes.
For me, number 1 is Buffalo until they give me some reason to believe that they're not. They have a gear that nobody else has.
Right. You've seen Buffalo be able to turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we've seen that from Philadelphia. I mean, obviously, the Vikings game was never close. The Commanders game was never close. But it was also, you got up by 24, at least in the Commanders game, and then you just disappeared. Well, they scored all 24 points in the second quarter, right?
And that's fine. I don't give a damn really about style points. This team's going to win ugly. That's what happens when you have a quarterback that's not very – he's not a good thrower of the football. He would tell you that just as well as I do.
Mm-hmm.
This is Philadelphia is built for when it gets cold and the postseason because they have a quarterback that's not going to just air it out and beat you deep. It's get it to the playmakers and let them do it. Defensively, I am going to pound you because I have a ton of defensive linemen. I have a good secondary. No receiver that you can throw at me is going to be too daunting for me to deal with, and I'm just going to grind it out, running it with Hurts and running it with Miles Sanders. Here's a fun question. Players not named Miles Sanders or Jalen Hurts, how many carries do they have for this team? Total.
26.
You're low, but not by much. It's 31.
Wow.
So Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, we have officially thrown that shit in the fire pit, and we're all on to Miles Sanders.
Well,
now.
they're just inside the 5 vultures right now for Miles Sanders, which is maddening for every Miles Sanders fantasy owner.
Yeah, they've got a couple touchdowns. I'm not overly worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Sanders is getting a stupidly high percentage of the work, which I am just fine with.
Mm-hmm.
About time.
It is about time. They did that all year last year. I mean, hell, we talked about it week in and week out. Why does Nick Sirianni hate Miles Sanders? Well, now he's not leaving any room. Miles Sanders not leaving any room for doubt. Who is the number 1 running back in that scenario? And then at number 1.
By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't point this out.
Mm-hmm.
That Penn State in 2017 had Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
And you lost to Michigan freaking State. I will never understand that game. I lost my ass on that game. Anytime I hear Miles Sanders or Saquon Barkley, I remember that shit.
You remember that game?
I do. I remember that shit, and I get angry.
Number 1 has been forever and will forever be the Buffalo Bills.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Jeremy's working on the delay today. Buffalo's got it all. They are number 1 in yards on offense. They are number 2 in scoring. Number 1, tied with the San Francisco 49ers in points allowed per game at 12.2. They have had 8 interceptions so far this year. That's the most of any team in the NFL. And they don't turn it over a lot on offense.
No, they turn
it over more than they want to.
They turn it over entirely too much. The difference to me between Buffalo and Philadelphia can grind you out. And Jalen Hurts, conversations in our YouTube chat said they've been throwing the ball as well the past 3 games they've been running it. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is one of those 2 teams can drop back with deep threat wide receivers and hit you for a 70-yard bomb. One of them can't.
Mm-hmm.
That is the difference to me. Now, Philadelphia can grind you out in a way that Buffalo cannot because they don't run well.
That's their only problem is the run game is entirely on Josh Allen's legs. And that is concerning come playoff time.
100%.
And I like Josh Allen. I think the Bills are a great story. I think that they are showing that they are offensively gifted. I would be remiss if I didn't say you don't run the ball particularly well. And you have backs that you should be able to do it with, like Singletary should be able to, James Cook should be able to, but they don't. And just relying on one guy to do that is a problem in those games. You can ask Josh to throw it 100 times and he will absolutely go out and throw it 100 times and he will run through a wall and he will do all of that stuff. I don't know if it puts you over the edge this team needs to figure out something to. They need 60, 70 yards a game from someone else. I'm not asking for I'm not expecting them to get a Derrick Henry. I know there's rumors about CMC. I think it would be insanity if they grab someone like that, but
well, most of the money sits with Carolina.
I don't. What do they need? Is it 60 yards extra a game on the run, and you think they're like untouchable? That's all I think they need. I'm not asking for the world.
The thing with McCaffrey, that's been talked about for years because so much of the brain trust in Buffalo came from Carolina. And then anytime a coach gets fired, people think that, we're going to ship out anything that is not nailed to the ground. And that doesn't tend to be true.
I'm your huckleberry.
But, Zach Moss and James Cook are both averaging 5 yards a carry. You're just not doing it enough. And I understand it. And to me, this is something that Dorsey's going to have to figure out over time. As a new play caller, we can't just throw it 45 times a game. At some point, you've got to be able to run the ball. And they don't, but I think they can.
I hope so. They're real good at football. Everything else they do incredibly well.
The Buffalo Bills are the best team I've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah. How I would really like it if the Eagles and Bills made the Super Bowl, but I would prefer if they had to play in like Orchard Park, where it's like below zero and windy and cold, and just watch Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen go at it. Like, just let's see what happens.
Gage Camplin in our chat said the NFL is not ready for an Eagles-Bills Super Bowl. You said that you wish that game was played in Orchard Park. I wish it was played in California because there would not be a lot of the surrounding area left based on the winners and the losers. It'd just be on different sides.
Isn't it played in Arizona this year?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Isn't Arizona a party state? Party school? AZ State?
Well, you gotta get to Arizona State, which is in that's in Tempe.
Where are they going? Glendale?
Yeah. Which is a retirement community.
Retirement community. I am, as a hockey fan, I am well versed in Glendale.
Oh yeah, it's you got to make a short jaunt to get to the parties.
Wait, they play hockey in Glendale?
The Coyotes.
Not this
There's
year.
hockey in Arizona? What?
Arizona State University is where they're playing.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot about that.
At the Mullet Dome or something like that. It's incredible.
You excited for the kickoff of hockey tonight, Armchair?
I am. I'm ready to be heard again. It's opening night for my Montreal Canadiens, and they'll probably lose because they're not very good right now. They're in rebuild mode, so it's going to be a long 82 games for me. But your Hurricanes should be good.
His Canadians are a lot like my Jets, just prepared to be hurt again.
Right.
Just ready for it.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
week 6 power rankings.
That's a wrap for that.
Yep.
We will not be here again tomorrow. And tomorrow, are we doing anything tomorrow?
No.
I have to.
I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't been told I'm doing anything tomorrow. So
I have to. So, and based on the information that happened right before the show, Mullet and the Dude may be it might be later than you were expecting. We will keep you as abreast of that as we can. Things are a little fluid. We got stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful people that support us and are awesome, and so we'll let you know the second we can let you know.
That's right. Regardless, we will be with you on Thursday, 3:00, ESPN Asheville, right here on YouTube as well, as we will return from day baseball with the Atlanta Braves. I didn't even see, how did that go today, by the way?
It was a lot.
They lost.
They lost.
It was a lot to a little.
Oh, poor Braves. 7-6. They at least came back and made it a game.
Mac and D asked about CMC to the Bills. That's been discussed for years. First of all, I don't see how Buffalo can afford it. Yes, a lot of the dead cap stays with Carolina. I don't understand why Carolina would do it. you're the guy that talks about selling jerseys and shit like that. To me, that means absolutely nothing. But you think that stadium was really red on Sunday? Trade Christian McCaffrey and see what it looks like.
Oh, they will burn that place to the ground.
Well, not so much that, just they'll stop going.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I mean.
You will be on the road every single week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, you have Panther fans that are so locked into the good old days with Ron Rivera. I mean, the good old days weren't even the good old days. You still never had back-to-back winning seasons. But they still look back and go, Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, like that era was the high water mark. You get rid of Christian McCaffrey, you're fucked.
Yeah, there will be a lot of people that would be very angry about that. I don't look for any of that to happen.
You already have a giant portion of the fan base is still pissed off about Cam Newton.
I can't even. I've talked about that as much as I'm going to.
LOL.
Gage Camplin said, talk of Burns to the Eagles. Thoughts? I mean, if they would come off of him, it would be a home run for the Eagles. Problem is, they won't.
Mm-hmm.
You could offer them 2 first-round picks, they would tell you no. That's how highly they think of
not
this
a chance in hell.
He's still very young. I would, if anybody was going to move, I would say it's Shaq Thompson or Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore's not going anywhere. Chris McCaffrey's probably not going anywhere. Possibility of that, but not a high one.
Yeah.
And then none of the young pieces, the Jeremy Chins, the Brian Burns. That's the attractive part of taking this job. Derek Brown, J.C. Horn, none of the guys are going anywhere.
Right. All right, you are in the Sportsocracy. Check us out on all the social medias at the Sportsocracy. Don't forget, you can play the battle for the belt with us this week again.
Links in the description of this here video.
Yep.
And the standings will be out later this evening. I didn't say it. I got the leaderboard for this week.
Oh,
the
gotcha.
standings will be out today. I just didn't get them finished.
Gotcha.
The phone rang, and I had to address that, and we were this close.
All right, so look for the season-long standings for the DFS contest coming out later on this evening. Again, we'll be back with you on Thursday.